The following programs were originally aired live, long before the advent of high fidelity, and they were recorded using a variety of means, from direct recording onto early audio tape and glass records, to simply placing the microphone of a wire recorder in front of the speakers of a radio playing the program. I hope, however, that any variance in audio quality will not take away from your pleasure in listening to these, some of the all-time favorite shows.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Next guest will give you the laughs, just don't ask him to lend you money. It's Jack Benny coming up next.
The Jack Benny Program. Quality of product is essential to continuing success.
At 45 sold American.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw. LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT.
Why, sure.
Yes, sir. You said it.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, so round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
Quality of product is essential to continuing success. Quality in a cigarette must mean the quality of the tobacco itself. And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, first, last, and always, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. The finer, the lighter, the naturally milder Lucky Strike tobacco.
For your own real, deep-down smoking enjoyment, smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike.
From Mitchell Field, headquarters of the 1st Air Force, the Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny. With Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Larry Stevens, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, in every group, in every crowd, in every show, in every barracks, there's always one outstanding personality.
Yes, indeedy.
So, it is no surprise that our little group of thespians has one of its own. And here he is, Mr. Eager Beaver of 1945, Jack Benny.
Thank you. Hello again. This is Jack Benny talking. And, Don, I must say I'm very pleased with that introduction you gave me.
Oh, are you, Jack?
Yes, sir, and I'm going to stay pleased until I find out what an eager beaver is. I remember once you called me a sad sack, and for 6 months I went around bragging about it. I even had it engraved on my card. Sad Sack Benny. I mean, a fine thing to call me.
Well, Jack, how did you find out what it meant?
Well, one day I tried to be sociable, so I walked up to a top sergeant and said, "Hiya, sad sack." And between sad and sack, I was flat in my back. Anyway, Don, we've been away from California about a month now. How are you enjoying the trip so far?
Ah, it's swell, Jack. Especially when we went ice skating last week in Central Park. You looked so funny the way you kept falling down all the time, and I had to keep helping you up.
All right. So I fell down once or twice.
Once or twice? Why, I picked you up so many times I felt like your ground crew.
You should talk, Wilson. When you fell down, you looked like a B-29 landing with its wheels up. Then you broke through the ice, fell into the lake, and it was high tide clear out to Sandy Hook. So don't tell me that. Oh, hello, Mary.
Hello, Jack. Hiya, fellas.
Mary, I'm glad you got here early because these boys expect me to put on a good show for them. You know, I'm an eager beaver.
You're what?
An eager beaver. That's the way Don introduced me. You know?
Jack, do you know what that is?
No, what?
An eager beaver is a sad sack with a commission.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thanks, Don. I'll have some more of my cards engraved. Say, Mary, how do you like it here at Mitchell Field?
Oh, fine, Jack. Especially now in the wintertime with all the snow on the ground. It's wonderful, really wonderful.
What's so wonderful about snow?
It slows a soldier down when he's chasing a girl.
Well, that's ridiculous, Mary. The snow also slows down the girl when she's running away from the soldier.
I know. That's what's so wonderful about it.
Oh, I get it. You wanted the soldier to catch you.
You're pretty sharp today, aren't you, Quiz Kid?
I'm sharp every day, sister.
Anyway, these soldiers here are all swell guys. I was out with one of them last night. We went to the wrestling matches.
Oh, at the garden?
No, Roseland.
Oh, Roseland Dance Hall. I was up there the other night.
No kidding, Jack. You have fun?
Oh, how can I have fun? You pay the hostess for your dance, you lead her out on the floor, you put your arms around her, then bum-titty-yum-tum-tum, the music's over.
Well, what do you expect for a dime? Schubert's Unfinished Symphony?
Mary, it isn't bad enough I get stuck with short dances, but when they were closing the place for the night, I had one ticket left over.
Well, what'd you do about it?
What did I do about it? I wasn't going to get stuck for the ticket, so I called the manager over and complained to him.
Well, did he give you your dime back?
No, he just waltzed me around the floor twice and sent me home. Boy, did he need a shave. And the next... Oh, hello, Larry.
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Hiya, kid. Well, Larry, you've been in New York for quite a while now. You still having fun?
Oh, yes,
Oh.
Mr. Benny. I'm having a swell time. Thanks.
Thanks to Mr. Benny?
Yeah, what babes he knows.
Yes, sir.
Larry, you mean you and Mr. Benny go out on double dates?
Yeah, you know, the girl Mr. Benny goes out with has the cutest daughters.
You're darn right she's cute, and so is her mother. Anyway, kid, the boys here are waiting to hear you sing, so let's have it, huh?
Okay.
Hold it a minute, Larry. Come in.
Mr. Benny, my name is Elmer. I'm a soldier stationed here at Mitchell Field, and in my spare time I write gags. You know, jokes. Are you in the market for any?
No, thanks. I've got a regular staff of writers.
Yeah, but Mr. Benny, you play a lot of army camps, and I can write you special GI jokes.
I know,
Now,
but...
for instance, you ask me why W.C. Fields is like the Mitchell Field bus.
Look, soldier.
Go ahead, ask me.
Okay, why is W.C. Fields like the Mitchell Field bus?
Because he knows when he's loaded, but he can always handle one more.
Look, soldier, sit down, will you? I'm trying to do a show. I'll talk to you after the program.
Okay, but if you lay an egg, don't brood over it.
I won't. Go ahead, Larry. Let's have your song. Egg brood. Say, that isn't bad, you know. That isn't bad.
Evelina, won't you ever take a shine to that moon? Evelina, ain't you bothered by the bobolink's tune? Tell me how long you're gonna keep delaying a day. Don't you reckon it's wrong, trifling with April this way? Evelina, won't you pay a little mind to me soon? Wake up, the earth is bare, the fruit is fine. But what's the use of smelling watermelon, clinging to another fella's vine? Evelina, won't you roll off that vine and be mine? Tell me how long you're gonna keep delaying the day. Don't you reckon it's wrong, trifling with April this way? Evelina, won't you pay a little mind to me soon? Wake up, wake up. The earth is bare, the fruit is fine. But what's the use of smelling watermelon, clinging to another fella's vine? Evelina, won't you roll off that vine and be mine?
Evelina, sung by Larry Stevens. Gee, that was swell, kid. I'm sure all of these fellas up here at Mitchell Field must be... Oh, my goodness.
What's the matter, Jack?
Holy smoke. Here I am in New York. Oh, am I in trouble? Am I in a jam?
Well, Jack, what's wrong?
What's wrong? When I left Los Angeles, I forgot to notify my draft board. Isn't that awful?
Jack, calm down. You don't have to worry.
But, Mary, you know how the draft board is. They want to be able to put their finger on every man that's physically fit. You know?
If they put their finger on you, you'd fall down.
What are you talking about? I'm physically fit. I'm in 1A. Here it is on my draft card, see? 1A.
That's A1. You took it off a bottle of meat sauce.
I did not. When they draft me, I'm going to apply for the Air Corps.
The Air Corps? Oh, Jack, don't be ridiculous. You know you can't stand high altitude.
Mary, altitude never bothers me. What are you laughing at?
You went to the movie, saw 30 seconds over Tokyo, and your nose started to bleed.
The picture had nothing to do with it. I was sitting in the balcony. You know, that can happen to anybody.
All right, Jackson. All right, Jackson. Stand back and relax. I like the soldiers, but I love them whacks. Yeah. Hiya, kid.
Well, you've made loud entrances before, but what in the world was that?
Well, I can't help it, Jackson. These whacks have been sitting out there for an hour waiting for Dreamboat Harris to show up.
Wait a minute, Phil. What makes you think they've been waiting for you?
Well, they're women, ain't they?
Now, don't be so conceited.
Look, Jackson, wherever I went, they kept following me and asking for my autograph. I bet I was asked to sign 1,000 autographs today.
Really?
Yeah, and if things keep up like this, I'm going to learn how to write.
That I would like to see. You know.
Oh, Phil, you must be kidding. Don't you know how to spell your name yet?
Well, I know how to spell my first name, but my second name throws me.
Throws you? What's so hard about spelling Harris?
It has 2 syllables in it.
Syllables? Phil, that's syllables. I mean syllables. Oh, darn it.
Jack, the word is syllables.
Mary, you said what I said.
Now, wait a minute, kids. Wait a minute. You're all excited. That's why you can't say it. The correct pronunciation of the word is syllables.
Yeah, that's it.
Are you sure, Donzie?
Why, certainly. Now, take the word Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco?
Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
I know, Don. What are you trying to prove?
Well, I'm trying to show what syllables are.
Oh.
Now, the word lucky has 2 syllables. Strike has 1. The words means and fine also have 1.
Yes?
But the word tobacco has 3 syllables.
Don, you just said the same thing we said.
I did?
Yes.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, imagine me saying syllables instead of syllabus.
Yeah, well, now that we've got that straightened out, let's get on with the show.
Hey, Benny, I got another great gag for you.
Sit down, Elmer, will you please?
Say, Jackson, who is this character?
He's a soldier here, a gag writer.
A gag writer?
Yeah, that's me. Hey, get a load of this one.
Elmer, will you
Hey,
please...
did you hear about the general who refused to put a whack in a guardhouse because he just couldn't brig a deer? You get it, General, Brigadier?
Elmer, will you please sit down?
Okay. If you want your show to be like a training film, it's all right with me.
Well, don't worry about it, Elmer, and I'll talk to you just as soon... I'll get it. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Benny. This is Rochester.
Where are you, Rochester?
In your hotel room. I thought I'd better tell you there was a fella here from Look magazine. He said they're doing a story about you, and he asked me some questions.
What'd he ask you?
Well, first he wanted to know your age, so I gave him our old standard answer, 36.
Good. I hope you stuck to your answer.
Oh, I did, boss. No matter how many different ways he asked me, I still said 36.
That's right. What do you have to say to that?
He said when time marched on, you must have gone AWOL.
Guess he thinks he's pretty smart. What else did he ask you, Rochester?
Then he got to that question that for years has been a burning issue in the public mind.
What's that?
Could you possibly be as cheap in person as you are on the radio?
Uh-huh.
When he hit me with that one, I had to think fast.
What did you tell him?
I told him you were such a lavish spender you were known from coast to coast as Diamond Jim Benny.
Good.
In fact, I told him you threw your money away like it was made in Japan.
Attaboy, Rochester.
And I just about had him convinced when in walked the man.
What man?
The man you rent your other twin bed to.
Oh, my goodness, of all the times for him to come in.
It was bad, boss, bad. The first thing he did was start yelling about you overcharging him for his laundry.
Oh, the nerve of that guy.
He made such a noise he woke up your riders. Then it really got noisy.
Why? What happened?
Well, one of them got up to turn on the light, turned on the shower instead, and almost drowned the other three.
Oh, for heaven's sake, well, what happened to the man from Look magazine?
He took one look and jumped out the window.
Out the window, Rochester. You tell him that my room was 33 stories up?
No, I just let him count them on the way down.
Well, I'll be darned. What else happened today, Rochester?
Nothing much, boss. It's been pretty dull.
Oh, well, I'll see you when I get home. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I was so anxious to get an interview from that magazine. Oh, well, play, Phil. Come on. was Whispering, played by Phil Harrison as orchestra. Very good, Phil. Now, kids, don't forget, after our program, we're all invited to the mess hall for a bite to eat.
Mess hall? Well, I'm sorry, Jackson. I can't be there.
You can't?
No, there's a friend of Alice's in town, and she's here all alone, so Alice has asked me to take her out and kind of show her around.
Oh, one of those things. When a wife asks her husband to take a girl out, I can imagine what the girl looks like.
I'll bet 8 to 5 she looks better than Gladys Zabisco.
Mary, keep my girl out of this, will you?
But she's so bow-legged.
She is not bow-legged.
She is, too. She looks like a donut with one bite out of it.
I don't care what Gladys Zabisco looks like. It isn't going to help you out of your troubles, Phil.
What trouble?
Are you kidding? While you're being dragged all over town by some dame, we'll be in the mess hall enjoying that good old army food. Say, Phil, who is this girl you're stuck with?
Ann Sheridan.
Well, it serves you... What? Whom? I mean, who?
Yes, Jackson, while you're in the mess hall enjoying that good old army food, I'm going to be dragged all over town by Ann Sheridan. Ain't that just two?
All right. Why didn't you tell me you were going out with Ann Sheridan? Maybe I'd want to join you.
But, Jackson, the mess hall, that good old army food.
I'm not hungry now. After all, I like to go out, too. As a matter of fact, Mary can come along. We'll have a foursome.
Well, I don't know. I promised Ann Sheridan...
Well, I'm sure Ann won't mind if Mary and I come along. In fact, you and Mary will make a very nice couple.
Wait a minute.
Why, Mary, Phil, I'm surprised at you. You two act like you wouldn't go out with each other.
Well, it ain't that at all, Jackson.
Of course not. I don't mind going out with Phil.
And I don't mind going out with Mary.
Well, then we ought to have a lot of fun. I don't mind going out with Ann Sheridan.
Hey, I've been here so long, I wouldn't mind going out with Gladys Zabisco.
Oh, it's you, Elmer.
Yeah, where is Bowlegs?
She's not here. Now, sit down.
Look, Jackson, Ann Sheridan is expecting me to take her out, so when she gets here, you lay off.
Okay, Phil. You can take Ann Sheridan, and I'll take Mary. And, Phil, as long as we're each taking out a girl, I don't want to get stuck with the check, and I don't want you to get stuck with the check. So tonight, it's share and share alike.
Well, that's a good idea, Jackson.
Sure. When you split it 4 ways, nobody gets hurt. Since we're going out on a double date, let's synchronize our watches. Huh, fellas, huh? Anyway, Phil, come in. Why, Annie. Ann Sheridan.
Hello, Jack.
Hello, baby.
Hello, Philzy. Jack, I'm sorry to bust in like this, but I've got a date with Phil.
I know. We'll all be together. You see, Mary and I are going with you.
Oh, Mary, hello.
Hello, Angie. You're looking swell.
Say, Annie, I never saw
Oh, you look good, too, Mary. And I love that dress you're wearing.
Oh, it's just a little thing I picked up at Saks Fifth Avenue.
Yes, it's
Hey,
over on
Ann, I've been wanting to ask you, where in the world do you get your hair done? It always looks so nice.
Yeah, it always looks just...
Isn't that funny, Mary? I was going to ask you the same thing because I've always admired your hair.
Well, Mary
You know,
always
I
gets...
usually get mine done at Pierre's.
Well, Pierre's, you know.
Well,
that's
I get mine done at Antoine's, and they have the most wonderful stylists.
Well, Antoine's
Now,
is
you know
always...
Pierre's, they have a girl there that...
Now, wait a minute. Let me get into this conversation.
All right, Jack, where do you get your hair done?
I don't know. Rochester takes it someplace. Now, Annie, I don't think it's nice for you to come here and have a whole big conversation with Mary while Phil and I stand here like dopes.
Yes, and my feelings are hurt.
Oh, I'm sorry, Phil. I didn't mean to do it.
Well, I can't help it. My feelings are hurt.
Oh, Phil, see, you don't mean that, do you?
Yes, I do, and I feel terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry, Philzy. Come here, let me put my arms around you and give you a great big kiss.
Yes.
Hey! Break it up! Break it up! Now cut that
How'd you like it, Annie?
Oh, hubba, hubba, hubba!
Fine goings on.
Jackson, what are you mad about?
Well, my feelings were hurt just as much as yours.
Jack.
I can't help it if my feelings are hurt.
Well, if it'll make you feel any better, I'll put my arms around you and give you a
Mary,
kiss.
you keep out of it. After all, it was Ann who hurt my feelings, not you.
What'd you say, Jack?
I said I feel terrible. And I think you ought to do something about it.
All right, Jack. I'll send you a telegram of apology.
I don't want to be kissed by a boy on a bicycle. Anyway, you could treat me better than that, Ann. You know, after all, we made a picture together. Remember George Washington slept here?
Oh, sure. You know, when I was on my overseas tour, that picture was playing in China.
In China? What town?
Chongqing.
Really? Well.
Jack, come back here. That was 3 months ago.
Oh.
Let him go, Ann. He wants to get there before the prices change.
I do not. I just got excited, that's all.
Say, Phil, if we're going places tonight, we'd better get started.
Okay, Annie.
You see, a girlfriend of mine is waiting outside, and we've got to find somebody for her.
Did I hear you right, Annie? A girlfriend of yours is waiting outside?
Yes.
Oh, and you're looking for someone to go out with her? Well, I'm your boy. Let's go. Mary, instead of going out with me, you can go out with one of the pilots here.
Thanks, Jack. I feel like I've just been taken off a KP.
Oh, Ann, while I'm getting my hat and coat, have your girlfriend come in, will you?
Okay, Jack.
Yeah.
Oh, Madeline, will you step in here a minute? I want you to meet the man you're going out with tonight.
Wait a minute, Ann. Did you say her name was Madeline?
That's me, Madeline Nussbaum, if you please.
Why, you're Mrs. Nussbaum.
You were expecting maybe Jesse Jones.
No.
My, what a surprise to be meeting you, Mr. Benny.
A surprise?
Yes, I know I'm going on a blind date, but you are opening mine eyes.
But Mrs. Nussbaum, how do you happen to be with Ann Sheridan?
Oh, she's coming to my restaurant frequently for a small order of chopped chicken liver, Hollywood style.
A Hollywood style?
Yes, the liver is coming from a chicken wearing dark glasses.
Oh, well, I don't know about this date tonight.
Come on, Annie, let's go.
Okay, Phil.
Hurry up, Jackson.
Well, Phil, you and Annie run along. I don't think that I could feel...
come on, take my arm, Jackie
Mrs.
boy.
Nussbaum, I've got a date with Miss Livingston. Oh, Mary!
Come on, don't be an eagle beagle.
Mary, where are you?
Come on, Jackie boy, we're late already.
Mrs. Nussbaum, stop pulling my arm. Oh, Mary!
Come on, we'll have fun.
Mary!
Give me land, lots of land, need the stars, guys, bye.
Mrs. Nussbaum!
Don't fencing me, yeah.
Please stop dragging me, Mrs. Nussbaum. Please, will you stop dragging me? Ladies and gentlemen, every week most radio programs carry some sort of a special message from the Office of War Information. The message tonight is an urgent plea for 10,000 registered nurses to join the Army Nurse Corps and serve in the Army hospitals in the United States. You civilian nurses can best practice your profession by joining the Army Nurse Corps. You'll be commissioned, well-paid, clothed, plus many other benefits. But the important thing is our wounded men need care, and the Army is tragically in need of 10,000 nurses now. So write for information to the Surgeon General, U.S. Army, Washington 25, D.C.
Jack will be back in just a minute. But first, here's my good friend, L.A. Speed Rig.
Independent tobacco experts, auctioneers, buyers, and warehousemen present at the tobacco auctions can see just who buys what tobacco. Mr. James Monroe Ball, tobacco auctioneer of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, one of these experts, said,
I've been an auctioneer for 27 years, and I've seen Lucky Strike buy tobacco with one consistent standard in mind: the finer, lighter leaf. That's why I've been smoking Lucky's for 25 years.
Here is expert testimony. LSMFT.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike.
The famous tobacco auctioneers heard on tonight's program are Mr. F.E. Boone of Lexington, Kentucky.
At $45, sold American.
And Mr. L.A. Speed Riggs of Goldsboro, North Carolina.
$43, sold American.
Basil Rysdale speaking for the makers of Lucky Strike. LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT.
Right you are.
You said it.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Fine tobacco means a fine cigarette. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike.
Well, fellas and girls, we had a swell day here at Mitchell Field, and thanks very much for inviting us. And next Sunday night, we'll be with you again broadcasting from the Navy Hospital at St. Albans. Good night, Joni.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Tales of espionage are coming at you with CounterSpy next.
The National Broadcasting Company presents CounterSpy.
Washington calling David Harding, CounterSpy. Washington calling David Harding, CounterSpy.
Harding, CounterSpy, calling Washington.
United States counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad.
These CounterSpy reports to the American people are brought to you each week at this time. Now, the case of the stolen secret.
Dr. Hilton, I wish you'd let me go with you.
It's best that I go alone, Lucy. After you leave me off at the railroad station, I'd like you to go back home and wait until you hear from me.
Just as you say. But somehow I don't like the idea of you going to Washington by yourself.
I'll attract much less attention that way.
That formula in your briefcase is so important, you can never tell what might happen.
Come, Lucy. You're getting all upset over nothing at all.
You've worked 2 long years on it. I've watched you, Dr. Hilton. I know how much it's taken out of you.
It was worth every minute of it, my dear.
I know, but I can't help thinking of the desperate measures certain people might take to gain possession of it.
At the present moment, my dear Lucy, that would be a sheer waste of time. Only this week I discovered certain of my hypotheses were invalid. Fortunately, I know now the cause of my errors. Nevertheless, my formula will still be in the hands of the National Defense Coordinator in the morning.
Oh, you say it so lightly, as though your very life weren't in danger.
Lucy, I'm not the swaggering hero you'd like to think I am.
Oh, I think you're pretty wonderful, Doctor. Do you mind?
Not at all. I'm flattered.
You've been like a father to me.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm at the age where I best suit the fatherly role.
Is this close enough to the platform?
Fine, my dear, fine.
Dr. Hilton, I still can't help worrying. Won't you please let me go with you? I brought along my overnight bag. Please say yes.
Lucy, believe me, I assure you that nothing very much can happen to me or the formula.
But how can you be so sure?
Because until I make certain revisions in my figures, my formula will be of no consequence. Several hours' work in my train compartment at most. Until then, what I'm carrying in my briefcase is worthless.
Are you sure you're not telling me a story?
My word of honor. Now, do you feel better about it?
Much. But you will be careful anyway. Now, promise me.
I promise, my dear, not to run afoul of any cloak and dagger tactics between now and my arrival in Washington. Well, there's my train coming in. I'll be back in Centerdale Tuesday. Goodbye, Lucy.
Goodbye, Doctor.
And don't worry. Everything will be perfectly all right. Perfectly. Yes, who is it?
Doctor, sir.
No, just a moment.
One peep out of you, Hilton, and you're dead.
What?
Inside.
What's the meaning of this?
All right, sit down. You'll be good or a bullet goes through your head.
What do you want?
You know what I want. And it won't have to be a mess if you hand it over.
I don't know what you're talking about. If it's money you're after...
Yeah, it's money I'm after. Not the kind you'd be carrying. Maybe this has what I want.
Give me that briefcase.
Thanks for telling me it's in here.
Give me that.
I told you to sit down.
Please, you must
All right, let go. Okay, you asked for it.
Agent Jennison, Centerdale CounterSpy Field Office, to David Harding, Washington. Dr. Theodore Hilton found murdered aboard train en route Washington. Train being held at this stop for thorough investigation. Will stand by for any special orders from you.
Attention, CounterSpy, pistol target range, attention. This is David Harding. Will Agent Harry Peters report immediately to my office? This is urgent.
And here's Jennison's supplementary report, Peters. Came in over the counter-spy wire 3 minutes ago.
Dr. Theodore Hilton. I've heard that name, Mr. Harding.
Dr. Hilton was a research scientist.
Oh, yes. In the field of fuel refining, right?
Right. He just completed developing a new formula for processing a special fuel for jets. It was to have given us a sure edge on air power. Dr. Hilton was on his way to Washington here to explain the process to government technicians.
It isn't hard to fill in the rest, Chief. The formula's missing.
Yes, but we do know that it was being carried in a tan leather briefcase, locked. The case was missing from his train compartment.
Any other leads?
No. Still too early to determine what sort of instrument struck the blow that killed Dr. Hilton.
Did anyone see Hilton with another person on the train?
We don't know yet. All the passengers are being questioned.
The thing is to find out what happened to that briefcase.
Yes, and the espionage agent who took it. I've already sent out orders to put every available man on this case. All roads, train stations, bus depots, and airports in that area are now under our surveillance.
What do we do now, Dave?
Now, Peters, we're taking the jet to Meadville to supervise operations.
Okay, coming up, a ham on rye. 2 coffee. Yeah, coming up. I got 'em. Ham and rye. Okay. Another coffee coming up. Sugar's down.
A pack of cigarettes.
Hey? Yeah, what kind?
What do I care? Any kind.
Okay, yeah. I'll get you some matches.
Keep. Good night.
Hey, wait a minute.
Operator.
Quick, operator, get me the CounterSpy field office here in town.
Right away, sir.
Centerdale CounterSpy Field Office, Agent Jennison.
Yeah, hello. This is Cy Smith, Smitty's Diner on Elm Street.
Yes?
Look, a guy just walked out of here carrying a briefcase that looked like the one I heard about on the radio, the one that Dr. Hilton had when he was killed.
He just walked out?
Yeah.
Did you watch where he went?
Yeah, he hopped into a car out front. It looked to me like it was a Chevy.
Could you describe what he looked like?
Sure. He left a $50 for a pack of smokes. Who'd forget a guy like that?
Agent Jennison, Centerdale Field Office, to David Harding in Jet S1 en route Meadville.
Harding, go ahead, Jennison.
Continuing report on the diner operator. He's given us a pretty clear picture of the man with the briefcase, but he was unable to make identification from our local photo files.
All right, Jennison, contact our statistical department in Washington. Tell them to have everything prepared for an identification search. Then have that diner operator flown to Washington as soon as possible. You got that?
Yes, Mr. Harding. I'll get right on it.
Where were you, Garok? I've been trying to get you on the phone for a couple of hours.
Steve, I do not sit in this hole in the wall developing pictures every minute of my life. I go out to eat sometimes. Not often, but every once in a while.
Yeah, you take 3 hours to eat, and me, I walk around with those hot papers on me, right out in the open.
I'm not interested in your tale of woe. Gorok has his own. I stand in a dark room till the sight of the sunlight blinds me. I am not better than a donkey used in the mines.
Yeah, you and your talk.
At least I do my job well. There was nothing about killing Dr. Hilton in the instructions given to you by Mr. Sibley.
Well, I couldn't help it. The old guy got too rough for his own good.
Mr. Sibley will not be happy about that.
But who's asking you what Mr. Sibley will be happy about? Here's the stuff. Put it on microfilm and shut your mouth.
The likes of you, Garok does not take orders from. Garok is an artist.
Garok is nothing but a big mouth. Now, come on, take the papers and do what you're supposed to do.
I am to do nothing until Mr. Sibley arrives. Garok is wise enough to follow instructions.
You sure put on a big front, don't you, Garok? I do the dirty work.
Very dirty work.
I'm telling you, Garok, I'm not taking much more of you.
You cannot frighten me, Steve. Garok has brains.
Yeah, well,
and Garok also has a gun in his pocket. Ah, Mr. Sibley. Good evening, Mr. Sibley.
I see we're all assembled. Good.
He just got here.
Yes. Steve.
Hello, Mr. Sibley.
It would be more appropriate to make that goodbye, my friend.
What?
You needn't become alarmed. As yet, I haven't decided under what circumstances we shall part. I'm convinced only of the necessity of ending our relationship.
Now, look, Mr. Sibley, I got what you were after.
Control yourself.
Yes, Steve, do. There's no need for becoming upset.
A drink, Mr. Sibley?
Not at the moment, Garok, thank you.
Here's the papers, Mr. Sibley. Maybe we don't click too good together, but anyway, here's what you were after. So if it's okay with you, I'll take my payoff now and beat it.
To simple minds, everything seems so uncomplicated.
Sit down, Steve. I have some things to say to you before you leave.
I'll stand.
As you wish. Briefly, my friend, you've gone about your assignment in a fashion so slovenly that I find it absolutely incredible.
You mean about what happened to Dr. Hilton?
What else could I possibly mean?
Well, I couldn't help that. It was an accident. I didn't think that slug on the head would kill him. It's just an accident, Mr. Sibley.
That's unimportant now. The man is dead, and the formula is of almost no use to us because of that fact. Without Dr. Hilton, it'll take much too long to make practical application of those papers you think so valuable.
That is why Garok did not put them on microfilm.
So the operation itself is a failure. But added to that, you've allowed yourself to become identified.
What do you mean? Nobody saw me.
No? The description of your unhappy countenance has been advertised on every radio station in the country.
But I'm telling you...
Why didn't you get rid of that briefcase you embassy?
I did get rid of it. I threw it in an empty lot.
But not until after you were seen with it.
Well, I couldn't help it. It had a lock on it. I had to break the lock, didn't I?
Quiet. The point is, you're very dangerous to us at the moment, to our entire network. And most important of all, to my superior.
Why, I thought you were running the operation.
Garok.
Yes, Mr. Sibley.
I shall leave the matter of Steve's disposition up to you.
And I, Mr. Sibley, will leave it up to this gun.
Hey, wait.
For Garok, this will be an exquisite pleasure.
I shall wait here until you return. Where is the liquor?
In the chest over there. I have some very fine brandy.
Now, Mr. Sibley, give me a break.
I do enjoy fine brandy. So much. Goodbye, Steve.
Yes?
Miss Lucy Braden?
Yes?
I'm David Harding, Miss Braden. This is my assistant, Mr. Peters. We drove over from Meadville to speak with you.
Oh, please come in, gentlemen.
Thank you.
This way. We can talk in the living room.
All right.
You've been with Dr. Hilton for a number of years, we understand.
Yes, Mr. Peters. I was his ward. After I became of age, I stayed on with him, you might say, as a secretary.
I see.
Won't you sit down?
No, thank you. Now, we'll try not to take up too much of your time, Miss Braden. We realize how you must feel.
Yes.
Just a few questions, and then we'll leave.
I'll tell you anything I can, Mr. Harding.
The doctor's laboratory is on the premises here, is it?
Yes, at the rear of the house.
Oh.
And his bedroom was right next to it. My room is upstairs.
Does anyone else live in this house, Miss Braden?
Well, we have a housekeeper, but she doesn't sleep in.
Then there was only you and Dr. Hilton.
There used to be my brother Charles. He was the newspaper correspondent who disappeared in Eastern Europe 2 years ago.
Yes, Miss Braden. As we know about your brother, his case is still an open matter in our files.
First Charles, and now Dr. Hilton.
We may yet locate your brother, Miss Braden.
Oh, I've given up hope. Dr. Hilton and I both knew why Charles disappeared. Because the country in which he was working didn't like the truth. And Charles told the truth in his dispatch.
Oh, we'll be just a moment more.
It's quite all right. I don't mind if I can be of any help.
Well, who knew about Dr. Hilton's plan to go to Washington?
I did.
Besides yourself?
The housekeeper, perhaps?
Oh, I don't believe so, Mr. Harding. Dr. Hilton cautioned me to mention it to no one.
I see. Well, that's about all, Miss Braden.
If there's anything else I can do, anything.
No, not at the moment. But if you do think of anything that might help us, you can reach me at the CounterSpy field office in Meadville. Call me anytime, day or night.
Do you think you'll be able to find the man who...
I don't know, Miss Braden, but we're certainly going to try very hard. Very hard.
Well, Garok, you're back sooner than I...
Mr. Sibley.
Garok, what happened? Your head is bleeding.
That animal, Steve.
Come on, man, speak. What happened?
He lunged at me before I could fire.
What?
He was desperate. You know how a man who is going to die sometimes becomes...
You let him get away.
I tried to stop him. I held on to him. Grok, a small man. He is such a large animal. He kicked me. Oh, my head.
He got away.
He kicked Grok. Kicked me in my head.
Now the CounterSpies will have him in no time.
Help me, Mr. Sibley. Oh, the pain in my head. Help me.
5 minutes after they have him, he'd have told them everything. Oh, Garok, you fool. It was going to be an exquisite pleasure for you.
Grok had the brains, but he had the instinct and speed of an animal.
You bungled, ruined everything.
Oh, my head. Oh, Mr. Sibley, do something for Grok. Do something to stop the pain in his head. Oh.
All right, Skurok. I'll help stop the pain in your head.
Oh, you are a merciful man, Mr. Sibley.
I'll stop the pain in you forever.
You are listening to the case of the stolen secret on CounterSpy. That new private detective, Charlie Wiles, solves another mystery in just a short while over most of these NBC stations. And later today, there's another broadcast of your Sunday evening extravaganza, The Big Show. Your stars tonight will be Groucho Marx, Ezio Pinza, Jane Powell, Fanny Bryce, Frankie Lane, Mindy Carson, Frank Lovejoy, Meredith Wilson, and many, many more. Supervising the hour-and-a-half Big Show will be MC Tallulah Bankhead. And incidentally, when unpredictable Tallulah meets unconventional Groucho, look out. It's The Big Show every Sunday on NBC. Now, back to CounterSpy.
That's the information, Carter. Radio it to all patrols. Have them notify me here at the Meadville field office.
So his name is Steve Meeker, eh, Mr. Harding?
Meeker. He's got a record a half-mile long. If he's still in the area of our operation, he's a gone duck.
That idea of yours sending the diner owner down to Washington for identification paid off.
Well, we can't be too sure yet, Peters, but it certainly saved us some time. Wait a minute. Harding speaking.
I want to talk to you, Harding.
Who's this?
Steve Meeker.
You're Steve Meeker, you say?
That's right.
Meeker, Dave? Get on the extension.
I give up.
I'm listening.
I heard my name on the radio just now. I'm cut off, I know it. I can't move 2 feet without there's a cop right there.
All right, Meeker, if you're ready to give up, all you have to do is walk into the field office here. I'll call my men off.
Oh, it ain't your men. There's someone else in Meadville I'm worried about.
Who?
You gonna come for me?
Where are you?
Over in Centerdale.
Who's after you, Meeker?
Nothing doing. I don't spill that until I know it's gonna do me some good.
All right. Where exactly are you?
In a drugstore.
Now listen to me. Get out of that store. The one you're worried about may be there instead of Meadville. Go to the address I'm going to give you and tell whoever's there that I sent you, and I'll be along to pick you up. You'll be safe there.
Okay.
14 Crown Street. Got that?
Yeah, 14 Crown.
Wait there for me. I'm starting for Centerdale now.
Yes?
This is 14 Crown, ain't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, then I got the right place.
Whom do you wish to see?
I don't know the name.
Well, I'm sure you must have the wrong information.
Oh, no. This is where David Harding sent me.
Mr. Harding?
Yeah, he said I should wait here for him. He said if I gave you his name, you'd let me in.
Then come in. You can wait for Mr. Harding in the living room. I'm Lucy Braden, Mr.
My name doesn't count.
Didn't Mr. Harding say what time he'd be here?
As soon as he can get over from Meadville.
Sit down if you like.
Thanks. Mind if I smoke?
Not at all. Can I get you something?
Well, what have you got? Maybe rye?
I'm sorry, we have no whiskey in the house.
Beer?
No beer either. But I have some soft drinks in the refrigerator.
Soda pop, eh?
Yes. Would you care for some?
Well, okay. I wouldn't mind.
I'll be right back.
Hey.
Yes?
Cut matches, I'm all out.
You'll find a lighter on the desk.
Thanks. They never worked these lighters. Never the first time.
We only have root beer.
Oh, root beer's okay. In fact, it's perfect.
I took the liberty of pouring you a glass.
Mm-hmm. You can take any liberty you like with me, honey. Any time.
There's more if you want it.
Nice and cold. I like drinks that are nice and cold.
Would you please...
Would I what?
Nothing. Are you sure Mr. Harding sent you here?
Mm-hmm. He sent me. He sure set up something nice and neat for me.
What do you mean?
Look, honey, I'm no friend of Harding.
Then what are you...
I'm on the lam. Wait.
Let me go, please.
Came to me just now, like that.
Please, let me go. You're hurting me.
I was going to do a dumb thing, but now I got a better idea. Yeah, great. What a setup.
Please let me go, please.
You're leaving this place now with me.
What?
That's right. You're getting me out of this jam, baby. You're my rain check. No cop in the world would take a pot shot while I got you right next to me. And Harding set up the whole thing himself. We'll write him a letter of thanks when we get out of the country.
You're crazy.
Sure, like a fox.
You can't get away. If you're wanted, they'll get you sooner or later.
With you along, honey, nothing can... Oh.
Nothing?
Huh?
Nothing, Steve.
Mr. Sibley.
I'm taking up where Garok left off. Garok was right. You are an animal. A man dies much faster. And that, Lucy, makes the final bridge we've burned behind us.
You waited long enough to fire, Sibley.
Sorry, my dear. It all rather amused me.
Don't be insolent.
Forgive me. Well, we owe a great deal of our good fortune to Harding, eh, Lucy?
Yes, but you'd better not be here to thank him.
Listen. That must be Harding now. It's too late for me to get out.
Get in the back of the house. Hide in the kitchen closet.
They must have heard the shots. What are you going to tell Harding?
Leave that to me. Give me your gun.
Yeah.
Now hurry. Do what I told you.
All right.
Oh, Mr. Harding. It was terrible.
What's happened, Miss Braden? Where's the man I sent?
Come in, please. Did you hear the shots?
Shots? What shots are you talking about?
There's the man you sent. Over there near the table.
What happened?
He tried to make me go with him. He said he was going to use me as a shield. I broke away from him, and there was a gun in the desk. I tried to hold him at bay. He came after me.
Now, take it easy, Miss Braden. You don't have to be too upset. He was a vicious killer. He murdered Dr. Hilton.
He was the one?
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Harding, how could you send that man here to this house of all places?
I'll let you think about my reason for that, Miss Braden, when you're in a cell in a good, strong jail.
What?
Until you come to trial for murder and espionage.
What are you talking about?
As the head of a spy ring, Miss Braden, you should know exactly what I'm talking about.
You don't know what you're saying.
Now, if you'll just come along, we can talk it all over down at the field.
Stand right where you are, or I fire this gun.
So, I do know what I'm talking about.
Unfortunately for you, you do.
I'm interested in one thing especially. How can your sentiments be what they are in the face of what happened to your brother?
Very simple. My brother is alive and well. He went to the place where he is now of his own free will. We both have the same political sentiments. Charles is waiting for me to join him.
You'll never make it now. I never shot a woman, but I'd be glad to make you an exception unless you drop that gun. All right, come on, you. You're joining the party.
All right. If you prod me so.
Would you consider resisting arrest? No, what a shame.
Where'd you find him, Peters?
Lined up with a couple of dirty brooms in the kitchen closet.
Lucy, what are we going to do now?
Plead guilty as charged.
First, Mr. Harding, you'll have to prove those charges.
That won't be hard. This evening, my agents came across a dead man named Garok. Of course, Garok didn't talk, but the data we found in his photo lab did.
I'll take these two along, Chief.
Wait, just a moment, Peters. I have something that may interest Miss Braden.
I doubt it.
Usually, Miss Braden, the counterspies operate on a highly scientific basis, but every once in a while we have to resort to our knowledge of criminal behavior to get results. You were much too innocent of too many things. You went out of your way to point out that you were the only one who knew Dr. Hilton was going to Washington, a fact you made no bones about, obviously to establish how innocent you were. It was your behavior that got results in this case.
Oh, no. It was the stupidity of my associates.
Oh, no. The stupidity was essentially yours to think you could get away with treason. All right, now, Peters, you take them away.
Tune in every week, same time, same station, to CounterSpy. Listen next week for the exciting Case of the Pseudo Spuds.
When an agricultural magician sowed tons of potatoes, he hoped to reap $500,000 in cash. Instead, he reaped a harvest of sawdust that blew up in his face and launched your counterspies on a search for clues that covered thousands of miles. The full details will be revealed next week in
Case of the Pseudo Spuds on CounterSpy. Tonight's CounterSpy program originated in New York, was directed by Marks B. Loeb, and featured Don McLaughlin and Mandel Kramer. CounterSpy is produced by Phillips H. Lord. Now, Charlie Wilde, and in a half hour, hear The Big Show on NBC. On NBC. On NBC.
Hey, man, how about we check in with Fibber, McGee, and Molly next? That sounds good to me.
That milk program with Fibber, Magee, and Molly. The first evaporated milk, Pet Milk, presents Fibber, Magee, and Molly with Bill Thompson, Gail Gordon, Arthur Q. Bryan, Dick LeGrand, Cliff Arquette, Tyler McVeigh, and me, Harlow Wilcox. The show is written by Don Quinn and Phil Leslie and directed by Max Hutto, with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. There are very few foods that cost so little yet mean so much to so many people as Pet evaporated milk. Pet milk helps babies to grow strong and sturdy with straight limbs and sound teeth. Pet milk helps toddlers to grow and develop into vigorous, happy boys and girls. Pet milk helps wives and mothers to fix more delicious, more nourishing family meals at lower cost, and thus helps young and old to keep feeling their best. Of all the protective foods, none is more important than good whole milk. And Pet milk is good whole milk that is double rich, concentrated to double richness by evaporation. Let Pet milk help you have better meals at lower cost. Let Pet milk help you keep your family well and happy. Your grocer has Pet milk. Take home several cans tomorrow. Mr. Magee of 79 Wistful Vista is going to a convention in Peoria. But the news for the people of Peoria isn't all bad. Mrs. Magee is going with him this time to keep him out of trouble. Dr. Gamble is helping them pack as we join Fibber, Magee, and Molly.
Have we got everything I need packed now, Molly, before I close the suitcase?
Yes, dearie, everything you need is in the bag and half the things you don't need.
Got all my convention equipment in there? I hate to forget my convention equipment.
Come on, Marblehead, shut up.
Huh?
The suitcase. Your cab will be here and you won't be
quiet,
ready.
Doc. Did you pack my electric cane, Molly? My carnation that squirts?
Yes.
How about my straw hat with the neon band? And my necktie that lights up and says...
Look jumpy.
Look jumpy? Why would a necktie say look jumpy? Don't be ridiculous, Fatso. My tie lights up and says, which way is the men's room? It's a very handy device.
Stop it, Flaptrap. You've got that suitcase packed 8 feet deep now. Let's see if we can close it. If you put one more handkerchief in that unhappy Gladstone, it'll throw a hinge.
Yes, it will, Magee. My own suitcase is so full I had to take 2 jokers out of the canister deck to get the lid closed. I've already called the taxi now, so you better...
Okay. Set on the suitcase, Docky.
All right. There. Now, you lock it while I...
No, not that way, large bucket. Set on the edge of it. How can I lock the suitcase when I can't even see it?
There, is that better?
Yeah, now hold it while I... Oh, hey, I just thought of something, Molly. You think I ought to take a few paper bags full of water to drop out of windows? Nothing helps a convention like
No, Magee, absolutely not.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Too hard to pack. I can get water in Peoria anyway. If I try hard enough. Now, that's got it, Doc. Thanks.
Yeah. It's a pleasure, my boy. Anything that'll get you out of town for a couple of days is sheer delight.
Thanks, pal.
What's the name of this thing you're going to again? The annual convention of the what?
The Song and Dance Performers Organization of Peoria.
Yeah, the sad poops.
Magee hopes to be elected president of it this year.
That would explain the name, all right.
Yep, I've been cheated out of it every year up to now, Doc, one way or another. But this time I got my campaign all planned.
I can hardly wait not to hear about it.
Yep. If I can get on the vote counting committee and get Fred Nittany, the guy that I and he had a vaudeville act from Starved Rock, Illinois together, that we would have been charter members of the Sad Poops, only some other guy started the outfit first and we joined it later to help me, I'm in.
You see why I get so confused with politics, Doctor?
You see, Doc, what I...
Hold it. Here comes the cab pulling up out front.
Oh, good. Grab the bags, Molly. I'll check the lights and see...
Everything is turned off, dearie, and locked up. Now, come on.
I'll take your bag, Molly. Grab your coat.
Hey, here's my bag, too, Docky. I'll open the door for you so you won't get it.
Oh, somebody call a cab.
daughter. Hi, Doc.
Oh.
Hi, John.
Hello, Mr. Oldtimer.
My gosh, old-timer, I didn't know you drove a cab. Is this a regular job? You just... Nope, I'm what they call a relief driver, Johnny. Yeah? Everybody that gets out of my cab gives a big sign and says, whew, what a relief. What cab company is this, anyhow? You an independent cab driver? Independent as a hog on ice, Doc. Don't care whether you ride with me or not. Where you going, kid? Someplace?
Going to the Union Station, Mr. Oldtimer.
Yeah, going to a convention in Peoria. I'll ride as far as the hospital with you, if you don't mind. You go past the hospital on your way to the station, old-timer? A good cab driver, Doctor, can go past any place on his way to any place. Just as long as the meter is clicking. And it is. I hope you know how to drive that cab, because we're in kind of a hurry to get... Don't worry, Johnny. I'll get you there pronto. Yeah. May have to drive a little slower than usual, though. Been having a little trouble with my new glasses.
Wait a minute now. You're having trouble with your glasses and you're driving a cab?
You betcha, daughter. I'm no quitter. I'm no sissy. For a while there, it was pretty bad, though. Yeah? Couldn't tell whether them traffic lights was gray for go or blue for stop. Gray for go? Uh-oh. It's better now, though. Them traffic lights look all the same. Purple. Yeah? Well, look, maybe we better walk to the station. I've got no time to fool around now, Johnny. If you want to make that train, you kids hop in the cab there and... Hey, where's my cab? My taxi cab. Oh, that's right here. Oh, here it is. Climb in. Yeah, you kids climb in. I'll walk to the hospital. I'll try it under the steering wheel, Johnny, and start her up. You kids hop in the back and... Hey, who took my steering wheel? Johnny, if you stole my steering wheel... Oh, get out of there. You're in the back seat. My gosh, how can you drive a cab? Don't worry about a thing, Johnny. Union Station, here we come. Hold tight, kids.
Mr. Oldtimer, wait. We
Don't worry, daughter. You kids relax. Hold your hands over your eyes. I'll get you there.
Here, please, now, stop the cab.
Nervous, daughter?
No. Lonesome. Could we please go back and get my husband?
Willie Nelson, the orchestra, and get out those old records.
Station's rather crowded.
Now, come on, Molly. Gate 5 is over this way.
Oh, Magee, I'm so excited.
Yeah?
I can't wait to get on that train. I love to ride trains.
Well, not me, kiddo. I hate it.
You do?
You betcha.
I've stuck my leg into the right arm of my overcoat in the upper berth at 5 a.m. too often.
Ah, well, this trip ought to be fun. I'm anxious
Your
to get...
attention, please. Will passengers for train number 7, the Bone Shaker, leaving at 4:22.5 for Poison Wells, Chris's Crossing, Mudson's Point, Left Meat Flat, and Naked Joe, Missouri, please not be so stupid. This is the Union Station, and that train leaves from Grand Central.
Hey, Grand Central. Hey, what's that guy talking about? You can't get the Peoria on the Grand Central. Oh, hi, Ole. Hey, Molly, here's Ole. Ole from the Elks Club.
Oh, hello there, Ole.
Well, hello, missus. Nice to see you. Well, hello, Magee. You coming back from someplace, I'm afraid, or going the way everybody hopes?
We're going to Peoria, Ole, for a convention.
Oh, for goodness sake, a convention.
Yeah.
You know, I went to one of those things once.
Yeah?
Sons and daughters of Sweden it was in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I played a bass drum in the parade, you know, boom, 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 boom.
Some fun, eh?
No, it was very miserable, Magee.
Yeah?
It starts to rain and I don't see where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
And my drum makes so much noise I don't hear a leader's whistle.
Mm-hmm.
So I walk and I walk and I walk. A boom, 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 boom. Till I suddenly see I'm marching all alone.
Heavenly days, what'd you do, Ole?
Well, I asked somebody, where am I? And he says this is St. Paul. So I say, I'm very glad to meet you. Can I trade you a drum for a horse?
Well, this is a convention of the SADPOOPs, Ole. The Sad Poops. Song and Dance Performers Organization of Peoria. I'll maybe get to be president of it this year, probably by a unanimous vote, like maybe 68 to 23.
It ought to be a very amusing convention, Ole. You know how old vaudevillians are.
No, missus, I don't. You know, vaudeville never get very familiar with me. How are they?
Oh, we just sat around and lied to each other about how often we played the Palace.
Yeah.
How Ziegfeld tried to send for us, but the telegram got mislaid. What we did to him in Kankakee. Then we all have a good cry for poor old Millfeather and Crump, jugglers extraordinary that brained each other simultaneously with Indian clubs at the Ramona Theater in Grand Rapids in 1913.
Well, I don't know much about show business, Magee, except for my wife's cousin, Thor. He was a hoofer.
Oh, wonderful. Tap or soft shoe, Ole? What kind of dancing did he do?
Oh, Thor, he don't dance. That's a very clumsy fella.
Well, you said he was a hooker.
Sure, the Klink's mule.
Oh.
You know, after every show, he looks after the hoofs. You know, I remember one time he...
Your attention, please. Train number 94, the Cinder Bucket, now leaving on track 5 for Grand Rapids. Bring Paul McGrawron, Back Lapland, Paul Stein, Freak Slow, Hurt, and Peoria.
Well, we better get going. Goodbye, Ole.
Yeah, so long, Ole.
So long, both you fellas.
Sure you don't mind riding backwards, Magee? I'll be glad to change places with
No,
you.
I don't mind riding backwards. Matter of fact, being the kind of a guy I am, I'd rather not see what's ahead of me anyway.
Attention, passengers on the Cinder Bucket. We're passing through a very interesting part of the country. As you face forward, the high peak to the left is Mount Shag, which is composed almost entirely of prochmotite.
What's prochmotite?
Prochmotite is a rare mineral, which, combined with other minerals, becomes bristlesite, the priceless ingredient which... in June. Please listen for the next interesting announcement.
What did he say bristlesite was the priceless ingredient of?
I don't know, but I think it's the stuff they soak shoelaces in so they can only bust while you're running for a streetcar. Or maybe it's the stuff they put...
peanuts, magazines, pet milk. The long trip, folks, in the dining car is a good skip, so get your candy bars, your peanuts, your pet milk here.
Hey, Junior. Mr. Wilcox.
Well, for the... Hello, Molly. Hello, pal.
Hello. Heavenly days. No matter where we go, we always seem to run into Mr. Wilcox. The way you turn up is positively uncanny.
Please, Molly, never use that word to me. I am never uncanny. I've got dozens of them. Cans and cans of pet evaporated milk.
Junior, I've been riding these rattlers since the Union Pacific was a cow trail, and you're the first candy butcher I ever seen selling pet milk on a train.
Well, naturally, it's my own idea, pal.
Oh?
You see, lots of families with children ride this train.
Yes?
They need a good milk for coffee. They need the best milk for the children and for the baby's formula. So what's the answer? Pet milk.
Yes, but how do you...
Attention, please. Passengers on the center bucket. We are approaching the historic Cellar Creek Tunnel. While digging this tunnel, workmen were astounded to find a huge... And evidence of the terrific battle may still be seen on the walls of the tunnel. Its tail, they say, was at least 22 feet in flying saucers. Please listen for the next interesting announcement.
That engineer has got himself confused with Benny Goodman.
Yeah. What did they find huge in the tunnel, Junior?
Oh, who cares, pal?
Yeah, me too.
The thing is that aside from the people who want pet milk on the train for their coffee and to mix the baby's formula...
With a 22-foot tail. Wow.
A lot of them buy it because they know they'll need pet milk when they get home or wherever they're going.
If it had a tail 22 feet long, Magee, it must have been one of those.
You see, people who travel get a good idea of values, and they know that pet milk is the all-family milk, especially for babies and growing children, because Pet is sterilized in its own sealed can.
If I'm elected president of the Sad Poops, I'm going to investigate.
And besides that, you see, pet milk contains the milk minerals so necessary to good, healthy growth and sound bones and teeth.
22 feet long. Wow.
So, for parents who want to give their youngsters every possible chance to grow up sturdy and strong, pet milk is practically a must.
Hey, my gosh. What's that, emergency?
No. That's just a signal from me.
Huh?
6 short ones. It means take pet milk to baggage car, brakeman making coffee. See you later, folks.
I'm just loving this series, but I am getting...
Please, passengers on the cinder bucket. We are now passing over the crushed mush viaduct. This famous landmark is the very site. And ran back down the hill completely nude. Please listen to the next interesting announcement.
Is there any way we can shut that dad-ratted thing off?
Oh, don't shut it off. I'd still like to hear one complete announcement.
Yeah, but my gosh, I don't
Good day, folks. May I have your tickets, please?
Oh, certainly, conductor. Magee, the ticket.
Yeah, hi, Bud. Don't go away. I got them here someplace. Now, let me see. I think I had them in my... No. Well...
Won't you sit down, conductor, while my husband looks for his ticket?
Well, no, thank you, madam. It is not permitted.
Oh?
It is a policy of the company to keep the personnel on their feet.
Oh, yeah.
Seems that the president of the railroad also owns a large firm which sells arch supports. He's no fool. Find your tickets, sir?
No, but I got them here someplace. Just be patient. I'm looking.
Oh, it's nice to know you, Mr. Lookin. And this, I presume, is Mrs. Lookin?
No, I'm Mrs. Magee.
Well, it's nice to see that you found a congenial traveling companion, Mrs. Magee. May I have your tickets while Mr. Looking is hunting his?
I got her tickets, Buster.
Oh, you have?
Yes, I have.
Look, baby, never trust your railroad tickets to men you meet casually on trains. With a puss like this, How about those tickets, Mr. Lookin?
I'm not looking, doggone it.
You better get started. That's all I can say.
Get started what?
Looking.
I am looking. Pipe down a minute, will you?
Don't take that tone of voice to me, mister. I can have you put off this train, you know.
Oh, now, don't get so fresh. We've got tickets. What are you trying to do, roust us?
Roust us? The lady am talking to you.
sorry. I didn't hear what you said, Mom. Dad Rabbit, my name ain't Ralphus. I'm Magee.
I thought you were looking.
He can quit. Here's the tickets. I have them. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you, thank you. I'm sorry, madam.
Now what? This is the right train, so don't give me that
Oh, but the wrong car, sir.
What?
This is car number 2. Your car is toward the rear of the train.
Well, that's all right. We'll go back there. Which is our car, sir?
Number 418, madam. This is a long train.
What? For the lane we go.
The King's Men and If I Were a Bell.
Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding. Ask me how do I feel? Ask me now that we're cozy and clinging. Well, sir, all I can say is if I were a bell, I'd be ringing. From the moment we kissed tonight, that's the way that I've got to behave. Boy, if I were a lamp, I'd light, or if I were a banner, I'd wave. Ask me how do I feel, little me, with my quiet upbringing. Well, sir, all I can say is if I were a gate, I'd be swinging. And if I were a watch, I'd start popping my string, boy. Or if I were a bell, I'd ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding. Ding dong, ding. Ask me how do I feel from this chemistry lesson I'm learning. Well, sir, all I can say is if I were a bridge, I'd be burning. Yes, I knew that my heart would crack from the wonderful way that you looked. Boy, if I were a duck, I'd quack. Or if I were a goose, I'd be cooked. I'd be cooked. I'd be cooked. Ask me how do I feel. Ask me now that we're fondly caressing. Well, if I were a salad, I know I'd be splashing my dressing. And if I were a season, I'd surely be spring. Or if I were a bell, I'd go ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding.
Well, here we are, kiddo. How's it feel to be standing in front of the Peoria Astoria Hotel in Peoria with the guy that'll probably be the next president of the Sad Poops?
Tired.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sleep a wink on that train last night. Somebody kept snoring all night.
That's funny. I didn't hear it. I slept like a log.
I know. I heard that log going back and forth through the sawmill all night. Oh, I do hope you win your election this year, dearie. You've run for president before, haven't you?
Every convention. And I've been gypped out of it, one flimsy excuse or another, every time.
Well, now that's a shame.
Yep. One year it was because my dues wasn't paid up. Next time it was because nobody voted for me, and one bad break after another. Come on, let's register and look for old Fred Nittany. This convention ought to be...
Well, for goodness sakes, look who's coming through the lobby.
Huh?
Mayor Latrivia, imagine meeting you here.
My gosh, Latrivia. Hi, boy. Well, this is a pleasant surprise, Molly. Never expected to see you here. Hello, Magee.
Himself is here for a convention, Mr. Mayor, and I came along.
Yeah, the SADPOOP's convention is here, Latriv. The Sad Poops. I'll probably get elected president.
The what, Magee?
The Song and Dance Performers Organization of Peoria, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, the Sad Poops. Annual convention. Have it every 5 years.
I see. Annually.
Yep. Oh, I made a lot of old friends here this week, Latriv. Real friends. True friends. Guys I ain't give a thought to in 20 years.
Now, that's very touching, Magee. That's the sort of friend I'd like to make of you.
Isn't that sweet, dear?
Yeah, what room you in, Latriv? I'll bring a bunch of the old Sad Poop pals up tonight and really show you a time. We'll make it headquarters. Sit around, swap jokes, smoke your cigars, put our feet...
Wait, just a minute. How long are you going to be here, Magee?
All week, Mr. Mayor, after the convention...
Great Scott, I've got to get home immediately.
Huh?
Do you realize that you and I are both away from Wistful Vista at the same time, Magee?
This is an impossible situation.
My goodness, I never thought of that.
Gee, me either. You worried about the town getting in a mess without me there to watch things, huh?
Well, not exactly. I was thinking what a wonderful week this must be in Wistful Vista. Oh, the trivia, you fool. Go home. Grab a plane. Call a taxi. Boy, get me a taxi. A taxi to the airport.
Yeah, listen, he's sweet, McGee. And so conscientious, too.
Yeah. Well, come on, let's get up the desk here and get registered so we can start conventioning. Boy, oh boy, I can hardly wait to look up old Fred Nittany and the rest of the guys and get myself...
Good day, sir. You wish to register?
Yep. Fibber McGee, Wistful Vista. This is my wife, Mrs. McGee. Check us in, page Fred Nittany for me, show me where the Sad Poops Convention is being held, and then send a case of root beer and a box of cigars up to the room.
You are Mr. McGee, sir? Fibber McGee?
Well, if he isn't, I should have stayed home.
Message for you, sir.
Oh, thanks, Bud. Oh, my gosh. It's from old Fred, Mother.
Really?
Yeah, he's already here, all right.
Oh, well, good. I've always wanted to meet Fred Nittany.
He says, Dear Fibber, got here and found I was the only sad poop that showed up.
What?
All the other performers are in television this year. You and I are the only remaining members. I'm quitting now myself. Take it away, pal. I'm off to Buffalo. Your pal, Fred. Oh, my gosh.
Well, heavenly days. So you're the last of the sad poops.
Yep.
What are you so happy about?
Why, don't you get it, kiddo? Being the only remaining member, I'm the new president.
The new president and his wife return in just a moment. Every so often, it seems, people need to be reminded of some of the good things in life that are within easy reach. Milk, for example. Pet milk. Every time you go to your grocery store, you can see pet milk on the shelf. And quite often, probably, you take some home. But do you know how much this milk can mean to you and your family? You know, of course, that pet milk helps you to make favorite family dishes extra good. But did you also know that the minerals and vitamin D in pet milk enable a baby to build sound teeth and bones? And that the protein helps keep body tissues in repair? Now, when a simple everyday food like pet milk can help make family meals more enjoyable and also help to keep the family well, it deserves to be called one of the good things in life. You have pet milk on your pantry shelf? If not, how about getting some tomorrow?
This hotel room is just beautiful, dearie. And the service, everyone is so wonderful to us.
Yeah, it's all on account of that story I give the newspapers, kiddo.
The newspapers?
Yeah, I called and told them the new president of the Sad Poops was here, only I shortened the initials a little. Let me read it to you. It says, new president of SP Vacations here.
President of SP? That's Southern Pacific.
Somehow that's what the hotel must have thought.
Good night, Al.
First evaporated milk, pet milk, brings you Fibber, McGee, and Molly each week at this time. Be with us again next Tuesday night, won't you? Have you ever made the mistake of jumping to conclusions about a neighbor? Well, then you'll know how the people on Blackberry Lane feel when they discover what a mistake they've made about their new neighbor. It's all told in the Story of the Week, scheduled for next Saturday morning on Pet Milk's Mary Lee Taylor program. And the second big feature of the program is the husband-tested recipe of the week for macaroni loaf with creamed tuna. It's an easy-to-fix main dish that helps cut down your meat bill. So, for a mighty helpful recipe and a highly dramatic story, tune in to NBC next Saturday morning for Pet Milk's Mary Lee Taylor. Hear Big Town next on NBC.
Well, Silver, wait those thrilling days of yesteryear with the Lone Ranger up next.
Hi-yo, Silver! Away! A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo, Silver, the Lone Ranger. In the early days of the western United States, the pioneers faced many dangers. Hostile Indians, outlaw bands, and worst of all, the forces of nature. Droughts, tornadoes, floods, and plagues combined to fill the settlers' lives with hardship. But one of the first things they learned was that the masked rider of the plains, with all his strength and courage, with all his great knowledge of the country, would do everything in his power to help them. It was he, more than any other man, who made possible the winning of the West. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver! We're heading for the hills! Town is waiting for us! Hi-yo, Silver! Away!
9-year-old Eric Blake and his twin sister Celia watched closely while their father stood at the gate of the corral in conversation with his foreman. Inside the corral were horses of all ages and conditions. Some were old, some were young, some were wild, some were broken, some were handsome and spirited, while others were obvious scrubs. All, however, came one by one under the scrutiny of Dennis Blake and the man at his side. And whenever his father raised a hand to point out a particular animal, Eric held his breath in fear. Finally, Celia whispered to him.
Eric? Eric! Huh? Is Pa gonna sell all the horses? Isn't he?
No, just the ones he thinks ain't much good.
Toby's good.
He sure is.
Then why are you afraid he's gonna sell Toby?
Oh, I don't know.
You say he was?
He didn't say nothing.
Then why do you think... What's the matter?
Pa was pointing again. I wanted to see which horse he meant.
Was it... Oh. Eric.
Oh, Celia, now what do you want?
Who's Pa selling the horses to?
He told Zeke he was selling them to Mr. Blackman. I heard him.
Mr. Blackman?
That's what he said.
But he can't. Mr. Blackman's mean to horses. He beats them.
I know it.
But he can't fill him to...
Can't you keep quiet, Celia? If Pa sees us here, he'll make us go in the house.
I wasn't speaking loud.
Well, don't. Just keep still. Say, look.
Huh?
See? Pa and Zeke are walking towards the pump. Can you walk real quiet like a redskin without making a sound?
I guess I can walk as quiet as you can.
Then come on, follow me. Maybe we can get close enough to hear what we're saying.
How about a cold drink of water, Mr. Blake?
I think I could stand one, Zeke.
Well, just a second. There you are.
Tastes mighty good.
Think I'll take a little swig myself. Even tastes good mixed with tobacco. Well, Mr. Blake, that makes about a dozen we've culled out. How many horses Blackman say he wanted to buy?
15.
Oh.
You don't much like the idea of my selling to him, do you, Zeke?
Well, 'tain't for me to say nothing, Mr. Blake. You're the boss.
Well, I can guess what you're thinking, and I'm not sure I blame you. But it can't be helped. I can use the money, and this has given me the opportunity to get rid of my scrubs. I've been wanting to cull these fellas out for quite a while.
Uh-huh.
If I'm going to raise horses, I'll have to start with good, sound stock.
Oh, sure.
How about that bay there? What do you think of him?
I rode him t'other day, short-winded.
And then you'll make 13. Mark him down.
All right, got it.
2 more now. It's getting hard to make a choice.
There's that one.
Yeah?
Oh, mean as poison. One of these days he's going to turn killer.
Well, it looks good.
Mm-hmm, but plumb dangerous to have around. You take my word on it.
All right, that's 14. Now, let's see.
Look, boss.
Yeah?
Why don't you tell Blackman he can have 14, but that's all? How about it? Just tell him you've got these to spare, but you'd better hang on to the rest of what you got. And what you laughing for?
Zeke, you're as easy to see through as glass.
Well, shucks, boss, all I said was...
I know what you said, and I know what you meant.
Yeah?
You're trying to keep me from selling Toby.
Oh, boss, you wouldn't do that, would you?
Why shouldn't I?
But, gosh, the young'uns. Mr. Blake, you ain't got no idea how much store they set on that there horse. Why, golly, he's their pet. He's the...
That'll be enough, Zeke.
But I tell
Sell
you that...
Toby. You'll round out the 15. I promise delivery tomorrow. You know which ones are to go, so cut them out first thing in the morning.
Well, if you say so, but...
You can't. You can't sell Toby.
What in Sam
Hey,
Hill?
what's this?
I heard what you said, Pa. And you can't sell Toby. You can't. He's my horse, and I won't let you sell Toby.
Here, now, hold on.
You can't. You can't.
Eric.
Oh, please, Pa.
Quiet.
But I...
Did you hear me, Eric? I said quiet. There now. Stop crying.
I didn't mean to cry, Pa, but you promised me someday I could have a horse of all my own. Me and Celia hoped it'd be Toby. And now you're going to sell him.
If I made you a promise, son, I'll keep it. But you're still too young to have your own horse.
I'm going on 10.
Which isn't old enough. No, son, you'll have to wait. And besides,
Huh?
when I do give you a horse of your own, he'll be a good one. A horse you'll be proud of. Toby's worthless.
He ain't neither. I like
We
him.
won't discuss it.
Oh, but Pa...
You're going to argue?
I'm sorry.
That's better. All right, Zeke, come along. There's some things I want to show you.
Well,
Now, come
all
on
right,
around here.
sure.
Oh, what do you want?
I'm awful sorry, Eric.
Well, you just needn't be.
But I heard what Pa
They
said.
can sell Toby if they want, but I'll get him back. You wait and see if I don't.
The following day, after delivering the 15 horses to Blackman, Zeke returned and reined in his horse before the Blake ranch house.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Come in. Oh, it's you, Zeke. Step in. Didn't expect you back so early. Get the horse at the Blackman all right?
No trouble with him at all, Mr. Blake. And there's the cash. He paid right up. Count it, will you?
Yes, I think I'd better.
Dennis?
Wife's calling you, boss.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah?
Dennis, Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were busy.
It's all right. What was it?
Hello, Zeke.
Howdy, ma'am.
Dennis, have you seen the children? I've been looking everywhere for them. Have you seen them, Zeke?
Sorry, ma'am, but I just now got back from Blackman's place.
Oh. Dennis?
No, I haven't. How long have they been gone?
I haven't seen him around since right after breakfast.
They weren't home at noon?
No.
Oh, that's funny.
Why, I'm worried.
Oh, no, I don't think that's necessary.
Where could they have gotten to?
I know those two almost any
But,
place.
Dennis, don't you...
Now, honey, listen. It's still a long time before sundown, and they're probably just out somewhere playing.
But I think...
Just as soon as they realize they're hungry, they'll be coming home.
But what if they don't?
They always have, haven't they? Well, they'll be along. If they aren't in an hour or so, remind me and I'll find them for you.
Well, if you think they're safe...
Of course they are. Well, Zeke, we'll count this and make sure there's been no mistake.
Dennis Blake was wrong. At that very moment, Eric and his sister Celia were on a desperate mission. The two broken-hearted children were determined to rescue their beloved pet, Toby.
There's Toby, Celia. See? Look through the bushes there. Eric, I'm scared.
Oh, what a...
If we take Toby back...
Well?
It'll be the same as stealing. Mr. Blackman could send us to jail.
I ain't afraid.
Eric, let's go back. Please. I'm so tired and I'm awful hungry.
Yeller coward.
Eric Blake, I'm no such thing.
Then prove that you ain't.
How?
Help me catch Toby.
But
then
I don't...
you are a coward.
What do you want me to do?
See that rock there?
Uh-huh.
Well, you stand atop it and watch for Mr. Blackman while I climb the fence.
In the meantime, not far from Blackman's ranch, a masked man astride a great white stallion and an Indian mounting a powerful paint rode into view. The masked man gazed anxiously at the sky.
Tonto. Pull up. Oh, Silver.
Oh, Scout. Oh, fella. What matter?
I was just looking at that sky to the east there.
Plenty clouds.
Rain clouds.
That's right.
And with the wind from that direction, I think we're due for a storm. Let's cut over toward those hills.
Not get water?
I'd rather not stop at Blackman's place.
Oh.
If it rains, there'll be no need to. Every dry pool in the district will be full of water and running over. Listen to that.
Under here.
Kimasabi, I've got an idea. It's not only going to rain, but it's going to be a storm to remember. Come on. We'll find cover and...
No, stop, Mr.
What's that?
They're trouble.
Didn't that sound like a child? Where?
Stop! Oh, Mr.
Tonto.
Blackman, don't hit
That's coming from beyond Blackman's ranch house.
That's right.
Let's go. Come on, Silver.
Get him up, Scout.
Hurry, old fellow. Hurry.
Oh, please, Mr. Blackman, don't hit me again. Let my brother go. Hit me. Don't you dare hit me, please.
Go on, get out of here.
Thank you. Please, let Eric go. Let him go.
Get back, you! Honor, you little horse thief!
Oh,
I'll teach you. I'll give you a lesson you won't never forget. You stand still!
Stop. Leave my brother go.
And you little wildcat, kick me again and I'll give you what I'm giving your brother. You... Hey, what is it? Mask!
Take it!
Oh, why you...
And here's another!
Oh,
Hit him again, masked man. Hit him again.
Get up, and I'll take that whip and use it on you.
you dirty...
You watch out. Drop that gun.
I'll show you what happens
You
when I...
rest.
Oh, my hand!
You're not hurt, but I should have shot to kill.
My hand, you smashed
Keep
it.
still.
You can't...
Or take more of the same.
You...
Now then, what's your name?
My name's Eric Blake, mister.
Well then, young fella, you'd better tell me what this is all about. But first, we're going in that shed where you won't be soaked.
the curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue our story. While the storm raged outside and the rancher Blackman stood by, the masked man listened to the children's story. When they'd finished...
Well, Blackman, if I were you, I'd forget about this and let the children have their horse.
Blast it, tain't theirs. It's mine. I paid for it.
Let them have Toby. Now I'll return home with them and explain to their father. If he understands, I'm sure he'll return the money you paid.
Gee, Masked Man, will you talk to Pa? Will you really?
Of course I will, Eric.
Oh, that'll be fine.
How do I know he'll pay any attention to a masked man?
You don't.
Well, then why do
But
you...
in the first place, Dennis Blake is no thief. You should know that. You're bound to either get the cash back or the horse. And in the second place, if you've any idea of refusing, I'll start in again where I left off a while back. A man who would strike a child deserves far more than what I've given you.
Boy, I didn't know how things was. How could I?
Then you'll let them have the horse?
I guess so.
Good.
Yippee! Hear that, Celia? You hear it? Oh, my.
Where is Toby?
He's right outside by the corral.
And I'm going to put you two aboard and get you home. It's going to be dark when we get there. And if I'm not mistaken, your parents are worried right now.
Dennis, you've got to look for the children. It's so dark and the storm...
Honey, Zeke and I have already been out. It was so dark we couldn't see a thing. We came back for these lanterns.
That we did, ma'am.
And you found no trace of them at all?
No, Edna.
Oh.
But this time we will if we have to search till sunup. Zeke, take that lantern and come along.
Right. Then I'm coming, too.
Then take that other lantern, honey.
Yes.
And let's go. Zeke, you hunt through those drawers past the corral.
Right.
Edna, you search all the buildings.
Oh, hurry, Dennis.
I'll circle to the west and we'll meet here at the house in an hour. All right. Come on.
Come on, old fellow. Can you keep up, Eric?
We'll be all right, mister.
How much farther than the house?
Just a couple of miles.
Then we'll be there in a jiffy. Come on, Silver,
Get
come
up,
on.
Toby, get up.
That you, Zeke?
Here I am, Mr. Blake.
Find them?
Nary a trace. What you find?
Nothing at all. Come on. We'll go inside and see if Edna's seen anything.
But, boss, she ain't there. I've been in the house already.
She isn't? But she should have been back 15 minutes ago at least.
What's that?
Edna, something's happened. Zeke, that came from the direction of the bunkhouse. Come on.
I'm coming.
Edna, honey, what's wrong? Answer me, Edna. Where are you? What's happened?
Boss, look.
What?
There by the edge of the building.
It's her. She's fallen. Edna. Quick, Zeke. Your lamp. Shine it this way.
Oh, gosh, Mr. Blake. What's happened to her?
She slipped, Zeke, and hit her head against this log.
Oh, she hurt bad?
I'm very much afraid she is.
Oh, golly.
Come on, Silver. Come on, old fellow.
Say, who's that?
I don't know.
Say, ain't there somebody riding this way?
I can't see through this storm.
Sure it is. It's a fellow on a white horse. Boss, that's the young'uns on Toby.
Hello there! Oh, there, Silver! Oh, boy! Oh, there, oh!
Polly!
Quiet. Masked man.
Oh, what's happened here?
I'll answer no questions now. We can save that for later. My wife's been seriously injured. I'll ask you to help me carry her to the house.
Of course.
Zeke.
Yes, boss.
Saddle up and ride for town. Bring Doc Wheeler back as quick as you can. Stranger, what do you think?
Dennis, she's seriously injured. I'm sorry I told Tonto not to come with me. She needs help as quickly as she can get it.
But do you think... I mean, will she die?
If she doesn't get medical attention, I wouldn't want to say.
Oh.
But if Zeke brings the doctor here quickly enough, she should be in no real danger.
But he's got to hurry. He's got to.
I'm sure he will.
Oh, that worthless, no-good horse.
Toby?
He's responsible for this. If the children hadn't gone for him, this wouldn't have happened. I'll have him shot the minute it's daylight.
Are you being fair, Dennis?
I wish I'd shot him in the first place.
The horse is to blame. It was only because circumstances ordered things that way.
I still
in fact,
say
I'm
that...
not sure you're not more to blame for this than anyone or anything.
What's that?
You refused to allow for the love children can hold for their pets. You were not only thoughtless, you were cruel when you sold Toby.
It's a lie. That's not so.
I think it is.
I tell you it isn't. Zeke! You made the trip already. Zeke, where's Doc Wheeler? Is he outside? Did he come here?
Boss, I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
You ain't got no idea how it's been storming. The bridge is down. The river's a raging flood.
The bridge down?
Boss, the river can't be crossed. We're cut off from town.
But that means we can't get a doctor. That means maybe my wife will die.
Boss, if there was anything I could do,
I'll try it.
Huh? Try what?
To swim the river on Silver. Dennis, don't give up hope. If it can be done, Silver will do it.
Hey, don't be a loco idiot. Come back here. Come back. Oh, boss, he's gone. What you let him do it for? It's the same as suicide. Why didn't you call him back?
I couldn't call him back, Zeke. I couldn't.
Hello, Silver! Away! Hurry, old boy! Come on, Silver! We've got to make it! It's a race that means life or death! Come on, old boy! Hurry, Silver! Hurry! Silver! There's the river! We'll pull up and see what we've got to face! Oh, there, Silver! Oh, boy! Oh, there! Oh! The bridge is down. I don't know if we can swim this river, old fellow. It's going to be the battle of our lives. Wait. What?
Help! Help!
Silver, it's Eric. He and his horse are caught in the river. Come on, old fellow. Hold on, Eric. Hold on. Into the water, old boy. We're coming, Eric. Hold on.
Oh, boss, it looks to me like she's getting paler all the time.
Zeke, she is. She must have help.
Maybe the masked man will make it.
I'll wait till sunup, Zeke.
Uh-huh.
And then if he hasn't returned, I'll try it myself.
Stay with it, Eric. We're almost across.
I'm trying, Masked Man.
Come on, Toby. Just a little farther, Silver. Come on, boy. Come on. Now then, old fella. A couple more yards and we've made it. And that's doing it, boy. That's it. Come on, boy. Good boy. Good boy. Eric here. Lean against this rock.
Masked Man, if I'd had to go any farther, I'd just been done in.
What did you try a thing like this for?
I wanted to get the doctor for Ma.
Didn't you know you were risking your life?
The odds were 1,000 to 1 against you?
I couldn't help it, Masked Man. I just had to try. It was my fault and Toby's, and I wanted to do what I could.
We leave Toby here to rest till we get back.
Get back?
You and I are going on to town for Dr. Wheeler, Eric.
Uh-huh.
And on our return, we'll have the river to swim again. Come on. Up with you. Into the saddle.
Is he getting up, Zeke? Did you tell him he'd have to stay with his mother till I got back?
Boss,
Well?
Now, I don't want you to get excited.
Zeke, what is it? For heaven's sake, man, can't you talk?
Boss, Eric ain't in his room.
He's already up?
He ain't never been to bed.
What?
His sister's in there a-crying. She told me the whole thing. Boss, when you blame Toby for your wife's being hurt, that young'un slipped out of the house and saddled his horse.
But what for?
You won't get mad if I tell you?
Zeke, if you don't tell me what he's done, I will
wait, boss, now wait, and I'll tell you. He rode out to cross the river to get the dock.
No.
He did, I tell you.
But he couldn't make it. Zeke, if he tried that, he'll drown just as sure as we're standing here.
Boss, it's awful, and there ain't no use pretending different.
Oh, as if I hadn't had enough already.
Well, I'll saddle up.
No, Zeke, you'll stay with Edna. It's my place to go. I should have gone before.
Well, if you say so.
Look at her, Zeke. She's scarcely breathing.
Yeah.
Eric gone. Maybe drowned. And if she can live till I get back, it'll be a miracle. Well, I'll gain nothing standing here. I suppose I might...
Somebody's stopping outside, boss. Maybe some of the boys. I'll send them along with you.
Yeah, they may be able to help, so...
Say, don't you fellas know better than to come into the boss's house without knocking? You... Holy smoke.
The masked man. And Eric. And Doc Wheeler.
Dennis, let me have a look here.
But where did you come?
Oh, the masked man died. He got across, and on top of that, he saved me from drowning.
Did we get here in time?
Doctor, do you think that everything will be...
One moment. Dennis, she'll be all right. But I wouldn't have answered for her if I'd been delayed another hour.
She'll live?
Yes, Dennis, she'll live.
Masked man, I owe you everything. If it hadn't been for what you've done, what you've risked...
Dennis, I'm going to tell you something.
What?
When I first arrived at the river, it seemed impossible to cross. I'm not even sure I would have attempted it if Eric here on Toby hadn't had the courage to make the attempt before me. If you're thanking me, remember that you owe them at least as much.
Eric.
Yeah, Pa?
I'm so proud of you, son. I just don't know what to say.
But Toby, Pa, can I keep him? Can I?
Eric, from this day on, Toby will be yours, and he'll live off the fat of the land.
Hello, Silver! Away!
story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.
Hunt the biggest of all game with the Green Hornet and Cato coming up next.
He hunts the biggest of all game, public enemies who try to destroy our America. With his faithful valet Cato, Britt Reed, daring young publisher, matches wits with the underworld, risking his life that criminals and racketeers within the law may feel its weight by the sting of the Green Hornet. Ride with Britt Reed in the thrilling adventure, A Soldier and His Dog. The Green Hornet strikes again. Young Private Bill Mercer scowled as he approached the long frame building, which served as the hospital in a certain Aleutian Island military camp. Bill's company had sailed for home while he was serving time in the guardhouse for petty theft in the barracks. And now he'd been ordered to see Captain Webb, the doctor in charge of the hospital.
Something for you, soldier?
I was told to report to Captain Webb. I'm Mercer, Bill Mercer.
Okay, Mercer. The captain said to send you right in. That door there.
Thanks.
Come in.
Private William Mercer reporting, sir.
Oh, yes. At ease, Mercer. Sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Mercer, I'll get right to the point. I understand you were in Company D?
Yes, sir. I was left behind when they...
I know. Mercer, one other chap who belonged to that company was left behind, too. Young chap by the name of Vinton. Private Ned Vinton. Know him?
Yes, sir. But we weren't what you'd call close friends. I didn't know Vinton had
Private Vinton is here in the hospital, Mercer. Couldn't be moved when his company sailed. Had double pneumonia. And, well, he's had a relapse.
Gee, that's tough. Do you think he'll...
His chances are very slim, Mercer. While there's life, there's hope, of course. But...
I get it. That's sure tough.
Now, Vinton doesn't know his company has sailed for home. Asked that we have one of the men from his company come in to see him this afternoon. That's why I sent for you.
Well,
His room's just down the corridor. Go in, talk to him. And be careful what you say.
Yes, sir. I'll take you to him.
Remember, you're the only man of his company left here. If there's anything you can do for him...
I'll remember, sir.
The sergeant just came out of Vinton's room now with Vinton's dog. It's being shipped to the States today. Well, Sergeant, guess that dog will miss young Vinton.
Oh, yes, sir. Hey, get away from me, you mutt.
Easy, Buster. Easy, fella. Take him along, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Buster. Come on, boy. Good thing Buster was on a chain, Mercer. You shouldn't have kicked him.
Sorry, sir. I don't like dogs.
Come along. In here. Vinton, here's one of the men from your company to see you. I'll leave you two alone.
Hello, Vinton.
What? Why did you come, Mercer?
Oh, I was the only one who could come over right now. Anything you want?
I want someone to write a letter for me.
Okay, I'll write it, Vinton.
Look under the pillow. A letter from my uncle.
I'll get it.
Read it, and I'll tell you what to write.
Okay. Dear Ned, you and I have never met. Years ago, your father, my brother, and I had a disagreement. Went out of each other's life. 6 months ago, when your father met with the accident, which, as you know, resulted in his death,
He wrote to me saying he knew he would not live, and that you would be left alone with no living relative but myself. Until then, I didn't know he had a son. Ned, I'm alone, too. I want to make amends and have you come to live with me when you get out of the service. I'll get you started in business. And after you arrive, we'll make arrangements to leave my wealth to you. We need each other, Ned. I'm sending this to the War Department in hopes that it will reach you wherever you are.
I'll be waiting to hear from you. Your uncle, John Vinton. Gee, guy must have a lot of dough.
I want to send an answer. I'll dictate a letter, then give you the key to my locker. Get a picture of me and close it. Will you do it for me, Mercer?
Sure, I'll be glad to. Got a pencil in my pocket, an old hunk of paper. There. Now, what do you want me to write?
Dear Uncle John, I received your letter while in the hospital, but I'm almost better now.
And as soon as I can, I'll rejoin my company and we'll be sailing for home. I'll be glad to come to you, and will let you know when I arrive. That was all I had except for Buster, my police dog. I sent Buster to the Canine Division when I joined up. Luckily, he has been stationed here with me. I just said goodbye to him as he is being transferred to the States for further training. I hope if Buster's still alive to have him with us, too. I'm enclosing a snapshot of myself. Look here, Britt.
Well, let's see.
We should be leaving soon for the States. I'll wire you when we land and then come directly there. Your nephew, Ned Vinton. By Jove, Britt, at last old John Vinton's going to have someone around that really belongs to him.
Well, I'm glad, John. Here's the snapshot. Nice-looking fellow.
Yes, sir. As soon as I received this letter, I said to myself, I'll have to run down to the Daily Sentinel and tell my old friend Britt Reed about this, so here I am.
Well, I'm happy for you. I know you'll get a kick out of having your young nephew living with you.
More than you could possibly guess, Britt.
I wonder when he'll get here.
Well, that's hard to tell. This letter's postmarked through San Francisco, so he must have been stationed somewhere in the Pacific. Sometimes the boys arrive home almost as soon as their letters.
Well, that's true.
Britt, there's one thing I want you to do for me.
Of course. What is it?
See if you can find out about Ned's police dog. I'd like to have that dog here when he does arrive, if it's possible.
A good idea. I'll see what I can find out for you, John. You can leave that matter entirely up to me.
It was several weeks later. Britt Reed was busy in his office going over letters with his secretary, Lenore Case.
Answer this one in your own way, Miss Case.
Yes, sir. I'll send these letters to the editor down at Gunnigan, and I'll find out. Mr. Reed's office?
This is John Vinton. I'd like to talk to Mr. Reed, please.
Oh, yes, just a minute, Mr. Vinton.
Hello?
Britt, I've had news from Ned. He's arriving home tonight.
Well, that's fine, John. He'll be pleasantly surprised when he sees his dog, Buster.
Oh, by the way, that was a great piece of work you did getting Buster for me. I'm not going to have them meet right away. I'll have the houseman bring Buster in later in the evening after Ned and I have become acquainted. I want you to be here when they do meet.
All right. I'll come over after dinner. I'll see you then.
Fine. We'll be looking for you, Ned and I. Goodbye, Britt.
Goodbye. John Vinton's as happy as a kid over the arrival of his nephew.
Who is he? Already arrived?
Oh, not yet. He'll be there tonight.
I'm glad you were able to get the dog released and sent to him.
Hi, Casey.
Oh.
Oh, Axford. I'm going over to John Vinton's tonight. We might get a human interest story out of the meeting between his nephew and the boy's dog. You know, the one we got out of service.
Say, no, Reed, you picked just the right one to write up a story like that.
It'll keep you out of mischief.
If you really want a story, I'll go. But if it's just to be kidding me, I...
Well, you'll what?
Oh, I'll go anyhow.
I'll say you will.
It's settled then. We'll dine at the apartment. Then we'll drive over to Vinton's to meet his nephew and watch the happy reunion between the boy and his dog. Young Vinton is fortunate to come back to all this.
You sure live the life of Riley from now on. Yes, sir? Oh, Mr. Reed.
Come right in, sir.
Well, thanks, Walker. Come along, Axford.
Mr. Vinton's in the library with his nephew. This way, sir. Mr. Britt Reed.
Britt, come right in. Why, so you got Axford with you. Good. Well, gentlemen, this is my nephew, Ned. Ned, Mr. Reed, Mr. Axford.
How do you do, Reed, Mr. Axford?
Well, sit down, everybody. Ned and I have been getting acquainted, haven't we, Ned?
Yes, we have, Uncle John.
You get that, Britt? Uncle John. There's my ears good to hear.
I still feel a little strange saying it, I must admit.
I understand you had a dog that was in the service, Ned.
Dog? Oh, yes.
Sure, and there's nothing like a good dog, eh, Ned?
That's right. I sure do miss mine. We used to be together all the time. You see, I raised him from a pup. You know how it is when you get used to having your dog around. Oh, he's a beaut, too.
Oh, I'm sure you do miss him, Ned.
Do I? Gee, I feel lost without him. Oh, but it's just one of those things that can't be helped.
You'll get used to it, Ned. Hey, look, Brett, here's a picture of Ned's father that he carried in his wallet. He was my younger brother, you know.
Oh, I can see the resemblance, John. Well, that is between you and your brother. Ned must resemble someone in his mother's family.
Well, that's what I said, too. Ned certainly doesn't look like a Benton. But I can overlook that.
Dad always told me I favored my mother's father.
But you are a Benton and my brother's son. That's enough for me, Ned.
Of course. That's what counts.
By the way, my lad, I suppose you saw a lot of action. What outfit were you with? And where were you stationed?
Well,
now, Mr. Axford, Ned's been through a long illness, and it bothers him to talk about what he's been through. Some other time he'll tell us all about it, won't you, Ned?
Sure. I mean, I'll be glad to, Uncle John.
Oh, sure. What are you planning to do now that you're here, Ned?
Ned's going to rest up a bit. Then we'll decide what he's to do. Probably finish his education first.
That's wise, John.
Of course it is. And tomorrow I'm changing my will so as to leave everything to Ned. I don't believe in putting things like that off.
You're a lucky lad, Ned. That you are.
Yes, I am at that, Mr. Axford.
Well, Britt, I guess it's time for the surprise we have for Ned.
Surprise?
Well, it'll be a surprise, all right. Mr. Vinton sure thinks of everything.
I'll ring for Walker.
Have you guessed what it might be, Ned?
No, I don't know what it might...
Walker knows what to do. He'll be here in a moment with the surprise.
Sure, I'm getting excited just waiting to see what'll happen.
Why? What do you mean? What...
Here he comes.
Here he is, sir.
Well, Ned.
That dog,
That's Buster, the dog you wrote about, Ned. Your dog.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't seem to know me.
Maybe it's because you're not in uniform. Speak to him. Go pat him, Ned.
Here, boy. Here, fella.
That's strange.
That's him, Ned. He'll know you in a minute.
Hello, Buster. Nice boy. Get him away.
Down, Buster, down. Take him out, Walker. Snap a leash on him.
Oh, yes, sir. Come on, boy. Come along.
Gee, he didn't seem to know me, Uncle John.
Well, that's strange, Ned. I guess his army training has changed Buster a great deal. Don't you think so, Brent?
As you say, John, it's very strange. I'm afraid Buster was a bigger surprise to your nephew than we bargained for. In more ways than one.
We'll continue our Green Hornet adventure in just a moment.
And now back to the Green Hornet. After leaving Vinton's home, Brett Reed dropped Axford off at police headquarters. Then he went to his apartment, where Cato, his faithful Filipino valet and the only person knowing his identity as the Green Hornet, was waiting. Brett told Cato what had happened when Vinton's nephew came face to face with his own dog.
It not seem right, Mr. Britt. The dog never forget master like that.
That's just it, Cato. That dog acted as though he had never seen that soldier before. Yet, in the letter to his uncle, Ned Vinton brought up the subject of the dog.
He what dog here, then?
Yes. Ned Vinton wrote that he'd hoped to get his dog Buster out of the service and have him here. Well, that's why John Vinton asked me to try to arrange the dog's release.
What you think, Mr. Britt?
I think something's decidedly wrong, Cato. It could be that the chap over at John Vinton's is not his real nephew.
Well, perhaps if you hint to authorities...
No, that would be embarrassing if I were wrong. John Vinton would never forgive me. What I intend to do is to find some definite proof that he is or is not Ned Vinton. And it must be done quickly. John Vinton's changing his will tomorrow.
If man not will, nephew, then John Vinton's life be in danger perhaps after he change will.
Yes. Of course, as Britt Reed, publisher of the Daily Sentinel, I can wire the War Department for full information about Ned Vinton. But the reply may take time coming through.
Meantime, perhaps a Green Hornet find out something.
Right. A visit to the Vinton home by the Green Hornet may turn up something. Let's go, Cato. Wait here, Cato. I won't be long.
Moving like a shadow, the sinister figure of the dreaded Green Hornet disappeared into the darkness toward the unlighted side windows of the Vinton mansion. Cato waited, ever on the alert, until finally he heard the familiar quick light steps of Britt Reed returning to the Black Beauty.
Was that you, Mr. Britt?
Yes. I've accomplished a little something anyhow. Get going, Cato.
What you do at Vinton Place?
First, I picked up that letter from Ned Vinton to his uncle. Then in the wastebasket in the soldiers' room, I found a part of a letter he'd started, then it crumpled up.
So you compare handwriting?
Yes. But I find the handwriting was the same. Then I looked through his effects, hoping to find his discharge paper. I guess he carries that with him. I could be wrong about him, but as a parting shot, I left the Hornet's seal in his room.
Why you leave seal?
Trying a little war of nerves. If he isn't the real nephew, that seal may cause him to make a slip. Go back to the apartment, Cato. Hurry.
After returning to the apartment, Britt Reed put through a wire to the War Department. Then he and Cato waited a long time. Finally, Britt gave voice to his thoughts.
Cato? By this time, the chap we know as Ned Vinton should have notified the police about finding that Hornet seal. Axford would have let us know if there had been any such call.
If soldier really nephew of Vinton, then he called police.
Exactly, but he hasn't. So that makes me think he has something to hide. Therefore, he didn't call in the police. I'm going back there and have a showdown with him.
Will we take Black Beauty out again, Mr. Britt?
Yes. Come on. First thing we'll do is to get that dog from the basement, put him in the library.
Dog dangerous. You be careful.
I can handle him, I think. Earlier tonight he obeyed my order. Here's hoping he'll take further orders from me. Move quietly now.
Oh, yes, sir.
If my plan works, we'll know the truth tonight.
Meantime, alone in his bedroom, Bill Mercer was getting ready for bed. Suddenly...
Hey, who... Turning in, eh?
Green Hornet.
That's right, fellow.
What do you want?
Money. And plenty of it. If you expect me to keep your secret.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No? I think you do.
Get to the point. What do you want here?
Listen, you. I know you're not Ned Vinton.
Stop trying to pull a bluff.
I'm calling your bluff, soldier. And I'm here for the payoff.
Even if I had reason to pay off Hornet, I haven't any money. So get out.
Stop playing the fool, fella. Vinton keeps a lot of dough in the library safe. I'm sure you know the combination by this time.
Yeah? Well, I'm not robbing my own uncle. For you or anybody else, Hornet.
Still sticking to your story, eh? Well, maybe you forgot somebody could contact the War Department and find out if Ned Vinton's really been let out of service.
Maybe I did at that. But you can't scare me, Hornet. Go on, get out.
Okay, buddy. But don't say I didn't warn you. You'd better make a getaway with whatever door you can lay your hands on before it's too late. I'll see you again.
I wondered just how much that guy does know.
We'll stay here in the shrubbery till we see what he's going to do, Kito.
If he not go to library, it mean that he is Ned Vinton.
Of course, I could be mistaken, but I don't think so this time.
Look, light go out in bedroom.
Yes, this is the test. Let's go on the side porch. We'll stand just outside the library windows. Follow me, Kito. I tied the dog just outside the window of the library. I forced the latch so that we can open it fast. The French window there. Down, boy. Quiet.
He mind you well.
Yes, that's a break. We'll wait right here.
Look, someone enter library with flashlight.
It must be the boy. I'll ease the French window open a little.
You see anyone?
Yes, he's opening the safe. Now he's taking out the money.
Get him, Buster. Come on.
Hey, that dog. Get away. Get away, you mother. No one's going to get me. This time I'll kill you.
No, you won't.
The Hornet. Wait, Hornet. No, that dog. He'll drive me to pieces.
Down, Buster, down. This will take care of you, faker.
You all right?
Yes, now to search this heel. There's his discharge papers. Now hold the flashlight.
There. What'd it say?
The name of this William Mercer, not Ned Vinton. Yes, fella, you knew he was a phony.
Someone come.
Must be John Vinton, the houseman. I'll leave this discharge paper and the Hornet's seal. That safe open and the money strewn about. He ought to get wise. Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir. There it is. Look there. Master Ned.
Then bust that. Wait a minute. What's this paper here? A discharge in the name of William Mercer. Walker, call the police. There's something decidedly wrong here.
Right away, sir.
Watch him, Buster. Watch him. Hurry, Walker. I want the police here to find out what this is all about and to put this imposter where he belongs.
It was an hour later when, in response to a phone call from John Vinton, Britt Reed entered the Vinton home.
Britt, I'm so glad you came over.
Hi, Reed.
Hello, Axford. And Sergeant Burke, how are you?
Fine, thanks, Mr. Reed.
Well, what's the trouble? What's happened?
Plenty, Reed. I was at Cops headquarters when Mr. Vinton phoned in. We came right out. And what do you think?
Well, I have no idea, Axford.
Mr. Reed, that young fellow Mr. Vinton thought was his nephew, well, he wasn't his nephew at all.
That's it, Reed. I thought it was funny early tonight when that dog growled at him. And we expected to see him run up to the guy and lick his hand.
But I don't quite understand.
Let me explain, Britt. I've had quite a blow. That young man was an imposter. They've already taken him to headquarters. He wasn't Ned Vinton at all.
How did you discover all this, John?
'Twas the dog found it out, that it was. He caught the spalpeen robbing the safe and jumped him.
You don't say.
Sure, and that soldier was in cahoots with the Green Hornet all the time.
No.
Yes. We found a hornet seal stuck on his forehead. Sure, and we know the dog didn't put that there.
But what about Ned, John? Did you get any information from the soldier?
He said Ned died of pneumonia in the hospital in the Aleutians. Ned dictated that letter thinking he'd live. This man, whose name, according to his discharge, is William Mercer, wrote the letter for Ned. Then, knowing Ned was dying, he sent his picture and decided to pose as Ned.
I'm sorry, John. Very sorry.
We'll hold that spalpeen until we make sure your poor nephew did die, like you said, Mr. Vinton.
I'll find out through the War Department, John. Meantime, you have Ned's prized possession, his dog, Buster.
Yes. Yes, that's right. If it hadn't been for Buster, well, I'll give that dog the home and attention Ned would want him to have. He saved me from being greatly imposed upon.
Robbed, you mean?
Murdered, he means. That guy would have got that will signed and probably killed Mr. Vinton to get the dough, that's what. To my way of thinking, that dog's a hero.
Yes, Axford, Buster is a hero. He certainly knows who is not to be trusted.
Sure, and believe you me, I hope Buster's along with me when I run into the Green Hornet. I'll bet Buster'd go for him like a tornado.
He sure drove that devil out of here tonight.
Here, Buster, here. Stop leaping all over Britt that way.
Hello there, Buster. How are you, boy?
Hey, Sarge, look at that now. That just goes to show nobody could say Reed was a Hornet. That they couldn't. Buster knows the good from the bad. That he does know.
Thanks, Axford.
By golly, that dog's a smart one. Too bad he can't talk. Being a war dog, I'll bet he could tell some secrets that would surprise all of us.
Well, that's right, Sergeant. Couldn't you, old boy?
Green Hornet implicated. Read all about it. Green Hornet still at large. Set the Lex Street paper.
These popular radio dramas, created by George W. Trendle, are a copyrighted feature of the Green Hornet, Incorporated. All characters, names, places, and incidents used are fictitious.
Crime doesn't stand a chance against Dick Tracy, up next.
And now, Dick Tracy!
This is Dick Tracy on the case of the Book of Four Kings. Stand by for action. Let's go, men.
Yes, it's Dick Tracy, protector of law and order.
Today's adventure with Dick Tracy will be coming on in just a minute and 10 seconds. First, we'd like to know if you've ever read the books of Zane Grey. If you haven't read his books, you've most certainly seen his stories in the movies. His writing, of course, was only concerned with the Wild West, and from it you might suppose that he'd been brought up in the West and lived his entire life among the horses and the cattle out there. But this was far from the case. His father had insisted that he study dentistry, and Zane Grey actually started his professional life as a dentist in New York City. But he could never be happy in that work, and he knew it. So there came a day when he closed his dental office, moved with his wife and baby to Lackawaxen, Pennsylvania, where he could live cheaply, and there he started to write. Then for 5 long years he slaved over one novel after another, without a cent of income, until he was almost ready to give up. But his wife encouraged him to write one more book, and that was the one that was sold. Well, he was a rich man after that, but I guess it must have taken a lot of courage for Zane Grey to write that last one. Don't you think so?
And now, Dick Tracy. Yesterday, Big Digger marshaled his forces for another assault on Mark Easy's bank account. He sent baguette to Mark Easy, and the young lady, using her devastating charm, persuaded him to send for more money and to pay cards again with Big Digger. Said that he was adept at manipulating cards and would see that he won. And now, while Tracy and Pat are carrying on their fruitless search for Big Digger, Mark Easy is talking to his lawyer while Baguette listens interestedly.
Now, listen, Jack, don't argue with me. I want that $75,000 here by this afternoon.
Now, relax, Mark. It's an awful lot of money you're asking for.
But it's my money.
After all, I'm your lawyer. Don't you think you ought to tell me what you want it for?
I don't think anything of the kind. I'm in full possession of my senses. I know what I'm doing.
Well, I hope you do.
I'd pay you to give me advice when I ask for it.
Well, there'll be no charge for this. You just be very sure you're not making a mistake.
What do you take me for, an idiot? You get busy with the banks. I want that money at my hotel here by this afternoon.
Well, as I told you before, in order to get that much, I'm going to have to sell some of your securities. You might not get a favorable break if I have to do it at such short notice.
I'll take a chance on that. Get the money here. That's all.
My, but you sound masterful over the phone, Mark Easy.
When I make up my mind to do something, I don't kid around.
You were just wonderful.
Well, that's how I got where I am today. I've always been smart. I've always seen to it that my orders were carried out.
Then the money's going to be here, all right?
You can bet your life on that.
Fine. And we'll give Big Digger the beating of a lifetime.
Say, it's funny that fellow cheating me at cards. I wouldn't have thought him the type.
Nor would I. He certainly appears to be a gentleman.
They say you can't tell a book by its cover.
Maybe they do, but is it necessary?
What do you say?
Just mumbling.
Oh. Say now, Baguette, are you sure we can pull off this scheme to take Big Digger?
Give me a deck of cards.
Oh, sure. Here you are, man.
My daddy taught me just about every trick there is. Now watch.
Say, you can sure handle them.
Watch this one. A three-way cut with one hand.
You got mighty clever fingers, man.
Thank you. Now cut the cards. Now watch how I pick them up.
I didn't see anything.
I know you didn't. But I actually reversed the cut when I lifted up the deck. Watch, I'll do it slowly. Now I put the bottom of the cut on top. And now watch.
Yeah, when you do it slow like that, I can see it. Yeah, as you pick them up, you put the two halves of the deck back like there was before the cut.
That's right. So if I've stacked the deck, the cut doesn't interfere with what I'm playing.
Yeah, that's right, smart stuff. You going to pull that on Big Digger tonight?
If he isn't watching me too closely.
Nobody'd think a beautiful young girl like you would know how to make a deck of cards walk around like that.
You make it sound as if I did this for a business.
Oh, I didn't mean that, Baguette.
My father taught me all kinds of sleight-of-hand tricks with cards, but he also taught me never to use those tricks except to amuse people or to show up cheaters.
I'm sure of it, ma'am.
Frankly, I don't feel very happy about what we're going to do to Big Digger tonight.
But don't let it worry you for a moment. He practically stole that $25,000 from me last night.
Of course he did. And I feel responsible for the whole thing because I introduced you to him on the train.
Just don't let it worry you.
And another thing. We'll just win back your $25,000 and then we'll leave. I will not cheat for my own profit.
You're a noble girl, Baguette. I'm honored to have you for a friend.
Thank you, Ma. Now, tonight I want you to sit on my right. When I give you the cards, always try to cut them about the middle.
I'll do that.
And one other thing. When you've finished your deal, don't be polite and pick up the cards for me. Let me do it.
All right, I'll remember. I'd be honored if I could take you to lunch now, Baguette.
Oh, a perfectly wonderful idea. And let's go someplace elegant where I can show off our new bracelet.
The sound of shuffling cards can be dangerous music to certain ears, particularly to Mark Easy's.
Come on, Baguette, it's your deal.
You don't mind if I pick up the cards, do you, Big Digger?
No, you don't mind if the lady picks up the cards, do you, Big Digger?
Your mood is so charming this evening, it's a pleasure to play with you, Marquise.
Maybe you wouldn't be quite so genial. You'd lost the amount of money I have.
For one thing, I know I wouldn't cry about it. If you're yellow, why do you play?
Watch out who you're calling yellow.
Oh, come now, Marquise. Let's dispense with the heroics. Nobody forced you to play cards. If you've lost money, it's your hard luck. I don't think I'm going to break down and cry because you took a bath. If you've had enough, why don't you get out?
Baguette's deal. It'd be rude for me to leave now.
Will you cut them, please?
I'll cut them. Let's hope it'll do some good this time.
Oh, I'm sure it will. And I'm truly sorry that you haven't won tonight.
I know.
Open for $1,000. Keep the pikers out.
Look, mister, you got around 70,000 of my money tonight. Don't call me a piker.
You're going to better talk. I'm getting tired.
I'll raise you 1,000.
I'm afraid I'm out.
I'll see you. Give me one card.
I'll play these.
Well, a pat hand. Under those circumstances, I checked you.
Everything I got left. $2,600. I'm not afraid of your two pair.
Well, I don't want you to steal it. I'll call.
I get an ace high straight. Well, I guess this is where my luck turns. From now on, I'll win.
Maybe from now on, but not this time. I've got a pretty little flush.
You feel the flush on me. Why, you rotten cheat. And you were dealing, Baguette. I think you were in with him.
Get out of here. I don't like the way you talk. Pick it up, chump. That's your taxi fare.
All right, I'm going. But you haven't heard the last of this.
Quick, we've got to follow him. I don't want any trouble. He'll probably go home and have a good cry, but we'll keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't try the cops.
These late vigils are ruinous to my peaches and cream complexion. Why don't we go home?
Well, you can go if you want to, Pat, but I'm going to stick it out a little longer.
Oh, I think you're crazy. But I'd stay with you.
This guy, Big Digger, must be in town, and he must be operating. In case any information comes in about him, I want to be right here at headquarters to get it.
It's a fine idea. While you stay here at headquarters, suppose I go out and investigate the coffee and sandwich situation.
That's a great idea, Patrick. Hold it, Pat. Inspector Tracy speaking.
Oh, hello, Tracy. Thank heaven you're there. I've got to see you. It's terribly important.
Just a minute. Who are you?
My name is Magee. I just been cheated out of $100,000.
Was this a business deal? Were you robbed? Please give me some particulars.
I was cheated at cards. Cheated by a crooked gambler.
Now, we're getting somewhere. What was this man's name, and where are you right now?
The man's name is... What are you doing in my room? Get out. Get out!
Hello. Hello. Quick, Pat. We've got to find a man whose life is in great danger.
Yeah, well, where is he?
He was cut off before he could tell me. But we've got to find him, Pat. We've got to.
Big Digger. Afraid of what I was going to say?
As a matter of fact, yes. My business gets along very well without advertising. You know what this is, don't you?
I know. Machine gun.
Yes, I just don't want you to be laboring under any misapprehension.
All right, I lost my head in front of the cops to tell them I've been slipped. But they didn't find out anything. Look, you put your gun down and I'll pack up and go home. I won't say a thing. And I'll forget all about what happened.
That might be all right if I were thinking of retiring, but I'm not. What do you think of Baguette, huh? You didn't think that a pretty girl like that would take you for a sucker.
I still don't.
No, of course you don't. She's too nice. She's an angel. Well, at heart, I'm a nice guy, and I wouldn't want you to die with any questions on your mind. Did you see that bracelet on her right arm? Well, you bought it with the money you lost the other night. It was a nice present, too. And what you lost tonight will buy her a little something for the other arm. Sure, she's a nice girl, but how she loves those pretty little stones that come out of the ground.
Put that gun down, Big Digger. Don't kill me.
Oh, how I love suckers. They're my favorite people.
In a moment, we'll return to Dick Tracy. But first, from the list of great names on Broadway come the illustrious stars you'll hear every Sunday night when it's time for ABC's outstanding dramatic series, Theater Guild, on the air. This year, as in the past two seasons, Theater Guild creates all the glamour and allure of the theater in each hour presentation. And the formula for this show that is ranked among the tops in awards is basic but expert. They take a successful play, they adapt it for radio, keeping the spirit and mood of the play intact. They cast it with actors who know their work and then put the whole working script under talented directors. When the finished product is ready, the announcer says, Theater Guild on the air, and you can be sure of 60 minutes of top theater. Last year, you heard from such Broadway favorites as Helen Hayes, Clifton Webb, and Judith Anderson, such Broadway stage sensations as The First Year and The Church Mouse and Gold. This season, you'll be hearing from many more popular actors and current as well as established successes. So don't be late when the curtain goes up every Sunday night on Theater Guild on the air, heard on most of these ABC stations. For the best in plays, actors, and presentation, hear Theater Guild on the air. And now, back to Dick Tracy.
Dick, did you get the guy's name?
Yes, Pat. He said it was Mark Easy. We've got to find out where he telephoned from.
Well, the needle in the haystack routine would be a cinch compared to this.
But Dick and Pat don't know that it's already too late. But can they stop Big Digger before he adds any more suckers to his collection? Better tune in Monday for The Adventures of Dick Tracy. Produced by Charles Powers, Dick Tracy is heard overseas through the Armed Forces Radio Service. And this is George Gunn speaking. Say, Tracy fans, have you ever had your breath taken away by something that has particularly interested you? Maybe it was a song you heard, or maybe it was a thrilling book that you've read. Well, ABC has a program that we think will affect you the same way. It's called The Greatest Story Ever Told, and it's just that, a truly great program. Everyone in your family will want to hear the greatest story ever told when it's broadcast each Sunday over most of these ABC stations. Because, well, you'll be remembering and talking about each wonderful story for a long time afterwards. Be sure to remind your friends and your parents to hear the greatest story ever told this Sunday. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
One of old-time radio's longest-running and most popular programs, CBS Mystery Theater, is up next.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to another hour of mystery and suspense. To a terrifying experiment in supernatural power. An experiment by a retired scientist to direct his wife's subconscious mind to shoot him. Our mystery drama, The Breaking Point, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Hank Warner and stars Roger DeCoven. It is sponsored in part by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal, and by new sugar-free Diet 7-Up. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
And now another story of the ball and chain as Kellogg's Special K presents Veronica and Jack.
Oh, Jeffrey, isn't this romantic? Out in a quiet lake at night with you rowing the boat.
Yes, Veronica, it's really neat.
Jeffrey, what was that?
Frogs.
Frogs that go bonk?
They're pretty weird frogs.
Oh, Jeffrey, you're such a card. You have a ball and chain, like the ones they use in those Special K commercials.
Yes, Veronica, it symbolizes my few pounds of extra weight. But I'm going to get rid of it.
How?
By exercising. You know, like rowing this boat and eating smart at every meal, starting with a Special K breakfast.
You mean a 1-ounce bowl of high-protein Special K, 4 ounces of skim milk, orange juice, and coffee?
Precisely. It's less than 240 calories, and it tastes delicious. It'll help me get rid of this ball and chain.
I'll help too, Jeff. After all, we're all in the same boat.
You have a ball and chain, too.
Your happy ending could begin with a Special K breakfast from Kellogg's.
There's a very special deal going on at all offices of Suburban Savings throughout North Jersey. It's called Suburban Special Interest Deal, and you'll be especially interested in the savings you get. A top 7.90% effective annual yield on Suburban's limited issue 7.50% savings certificate. And Suburban guarantees it for from 4 to 10 years, minimum deposit $2,500. Early withdrawal prior to maturity is subject to a substantial penalty. Suburban compounds interest continuously from day of deposit, paid quarterly. So you not only get interest on your savings, you get interest on the interest. And Suburban offers you the highest interest rate allowed by law. Here's your chance to get a great savings. A top 7.90% effective annual yield on Suburban's limited issue 7.50% savings certificate. Why not deal yourself into Suburban Savings Special Interest Deal in Bayonne, Edgewater, Elmwood Park, Emerson, Hackettstown, Morris Plains, Nutley, Paramus, and Sparta.
Come, ride with me in this ambulance, speeding through the midnight fog, across the Golden Gate Bridge to St. Francis Hospital in downtown San Francisco. As the trauma emergency team tries with plasma and oxygen to keep critically wounded Professor William Baker alive. The driver and the two doctors know that the patient must get to the operating room in minutes. Now, quickly, up this hospital corridor, as the patient is wheeled into the operating room. Stand outside the door and listen as they try to save him. And maybe you'll learn what Professor Baker tried to learn about the dark mystery of life and death.
Scalpel. Blood.
The patient's failing, Doctor.
Blood pressure.
62/40.
Adrenaline. I can hear them trying to save me, but I'm going to die. And I want you to know that I'm dying all because I made my wife murder me. Yes, I am dying because I conducted an experiment to influence my wife's subconscious mind to the point where she was going to murder me. Listen carefully. I will tell you exactly what happened. And when I have completed what I desire to communicate, go to the police. Tell them if you dare. I say dare, for it will require courage. It began this afternoon when Dr. Philip Simpson, the brilliant young brain surgeon, drove up in his station wagon from Palo Alto to address the San Francisco Medical Society and spend the night with us at the cottage Helen, my wife, and I had rented in the wooded hillside just across the Golden Gate Bridge, overlooking the ocean. He brought Chichi, one of two capuchin monkeys he kept under observation in his research laboratory. It's good to see you, Philip.
It's so good to see you, Professor Baker.
So, that's Chichi.
Yes, he wants to get out. Quiet down, Chichi. Come on, you can come out.
Hello, Chichi. Oh, you want to shake hands, too, of course. Welcome, Chichi.
Very affectionate. Astounding talent for mimicry.
Oh, dear.
Get off Professor Baker's shoulder, Chichi. Come on down. He likes your hat. No, Chichi. No. All right, now you've tried it on. Give it back.
Oh, thank you, Chichi.
He gets tired of wearing his black skull cap. Chichi, let go of my hand. Now, you go on by yourself. He's always curious about new surroundings. Probably wants to explore that grove of trees. Go on, Chichi. He won't go far. He'll play for a while and come back. Beautiful place you have here, Professor Baker. Is Helen home?
Oh, she'll be back shortly. Had some shopping in the village. She just had to have abalone for you. She remembered how much you enjoy abalone steak.
Wonderful, wonderful. How is she? You and Helen certainly could not have found a lovelier place for retirement.
It is rather isolated, but then it does have that increasingly rare commodity, peace and quiet. Let's walk around back.
Just beautiful. This view.
How about a cocktail?
Well, why don't we wait for Helen?
Well, she ought to be back any minute. We usually have our evening cocktail in the study. Gets foggy on the patio towards sundown. What about Chichi?
Oh, he'll be all right. He'll open the patio door if it's left unlocked. Gets hysterical if he thinks he's been locked up.
Still like dry Manhattans?
Perfect. Did you tell Helen that you had asked me to bring Chi-Chi?
I intended to. Slipped my mind. Here you are.
Ah, thank you. Well, cheers. That's good as ever. I hope Helen won't be upset.
I'm sure she won't. I rather think she'll be intrigued with the idea of having Chi-Chi here for our experiments.
Wait, you mean she's working with you on the research?
Oh, yes. She's very cooperative. Finds it lots of fun.
Well, that is interesting. Is she as intrigued as you seem to be with psychic studies?
Well, frankly, I don't believe so. She's been very cooperative, but I don't think she really approves.
Oh?
Well, sometimes I question the wisdom of having married at my age.
Oh, come on now.
I remind you, Philip, Helen is 20 years younger. I sometimes have the feeling she feels trapped, misses the activities of faculty wives she so enjoyed in the years before my retirement. Perhaps we'd had children. Philip, Helen should have married you when you were both graduate students.
Well, there's nothing happened between you.
No, Philip, not yet, but...
Well, don't tell me that you, Professor Baker, an eminent physicist for 40 years, with worldwide reputation for scientific integrity, has succumbed to clairvoyance?
And you, Philip? Do you have irrefutable proof that clairvoyance does not ever exist? Can you issue an assurance that something will not happen? Oh, that's Helen now.
Oh.
Philip! Philip!
Hello, Helen.
As I look back now to that moment when Dr. Simpson and I waited for Helen to come into the house, I fully realize that the quick flush that passed over his tense face meant the one thing I had been blind to, that he was still in love with her. Helen entered the room with packages in her arms. She threw them on the sofa, rushed towards him, her face glowing with pleasure, embraced him and kissed his cheek, hugged him.
Oh, Philip, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
Oh, let me look at you. Oh, it's so good to see you.
Neither one of them saw Chi-Chi open the door from the garden, come into the room, climb a table, and spring onto her shoulder, its furry paws around her neck.
Chi-Chi! Come down, Chi-Chi. Let go of her. Now, come down. There, now stay down.
It's a monkey. Oh, I couldn't imagine what. All I saw and felt were hairy paws.
It's all right, Chi-Chi. It's all right. Now, just be quiet. I'm so sorry he scared you, Helen. He was trying to be affectionate.
Yeah, well, I sure can do with a drink.
Here you are, dear.
Thank you. He is cute, but why the black skull cap?
Well, you might say aesthetic reasons.
Aesthetic?
Or cosmetic. Philip doesn't like his little wards running around in public with their brains exposed.
Brains exposed?
Yes, that's right, Helen. The skull cap covers Chi-Chi's plastic skull. Now, I'll show you. There you are.
Well, you can see its brain. It's positively fascinating. It's almost unbelievable. Oh, Philip, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant surgery.
Wait a minute, Helen. I'm just carrying on what was begun in 1948 at the Naval Medical Research Institute in Bethesda, Maryland.
Really? I had no idea such surgery was possible that far back.
Helen, my dear, there's a big gap in your knowledge of surgery. The ancient Egyptians operated on cranial bone.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Look here, Helen. Surgeons in a series of 4 operations removed cranial bone from the shaved head. And when the skull healed, fitted the metal ring around the edge of the skull, sealing the joint with rosin and wax. The clear plastic skull is held in place by these 6 steel bolts.
Marvelous. Simply marvelous.
Oh, it's practically routine now.
Well, why was it done, Philip?
Well, to study through the plastic skull, as I'm still studying, the flow of blood when the monkeys are in an induced state of shock or under the influence of anesthesia or drugs like adrenaline, histamine. And, of course, reactions to cold, hunger, diet, fear, tension, so forth. Incidentally, I'm leaving Chi-Chi here for a while.
Here?
Oh, I'm sorry, Helen. I simply forgot to tell you.
Yes, but why? I mean, why is it being left here?
What Philip is too polite to say, my dear, is that he's loaning Chi-Chi to me for extrasensory and paranormal experiments, to make my own observations. I believe he hopes to convince me that the brain, monkey's or man's, fails to respond with a measurable reaction to mental energy messages.
Exactly.
Look, I'm curious. Why must the experiment be with a monkey when a dog, a horse?
Philip understands, don't you, Philip?
Well, Helen, in the scale of intelligence among animals, the monkey has the highest ability to learn, next to man.
Oh, Philip, what time is your lecture?
Well, I should be at the academy by 8.
Good. Give us enough time for another cocktail. And not have to rush through dinner. Darling, please shake up another round. I'll take these packages to the kitchen.
Well, here, let me carry them in.
Oh, well, just put them on the counter, Philip.
Mm-hmm. Anything else I can help you with? Just show me where things are. I'll help set the table. What is it, Helen? You all right?
Yes. The table. The table.
What are you talking about? I said I'd help set the table.
Oh, well, later. Let's have our drink and talk. There's so much to catch up with, Philip. More coffee, Philip?
Yes, please.
Oh, have some more of the strawberries, Philip. And ice cream.
Well, just a little. Helen, what you've been telling me is hardly believable.
Oh, there's no room for disbelief, Philip. There's evidence.
Evidence?
Yes. I'll get the drawings. Excuse me. Be right back. They're in the study.
I don't like it, Helen. Do you have these dizzy spells often?
Well, they've been more frequent recently.
Well, you should stop participating in such experiments. I'll talk to William.
Oh, please don't. Please.
Here we are. Philip, look at these rough line drawings. Do they suggest recognizable objects?
Well, this might be an apple, I guess. This, suggests a knife. I can't see anything in this one. Meaningless lines.
Yes, that one is meaningless. Note the dates on the drawings. About a month ago, I sat at this table with 3 objects in my hands. An apple, a knife, and a salt shaker. Helen was stretched out on her back in the bedroom, her mind clear of any thoughts or feelings, awaiting my energy message. She could not hear me. She could only receive my thoughts, my instructions. I sent a message for her to pick up the pad and pencil on the night table. I sent an energy message telling her I was holding an apple, a knife, and a salt shaker, and for her to draw them. She got 2 out of 3.
You ask me to accept this as evidence that you can control the actions of the mind of a person who's out of your sight, out of the sound of your voice, even physically in another place? Oh, I call it coincidence, accident.
It did happen, Philip. In many other experiments we did together. It took me months of training to achieve a state of receptivity.
Well, that's all very interesting, but I'd better soon be on my way to the academy.
I can see you're still skeptical. Can you spare 3 more minutes for another, as you say, interesting experiment now, right here, with Helen?
With Helen? I'd rather not.
I don't mind, Philip.
All right, very well.
Thank you, Helen. Lie down in the bedroom. I'll give you 2 minutes to achieve receptivity. I will repeat once more, Helen. Come back. Pick up the coffee pot and pour the coffee right on your fine lace tablecloth.
You're not going to let her...
No, this gong will stop her.
More coffee, Philip?
Well, I really should be going.
Oh, yes, before the bridge traffic gets heavy.
Here, I'll help you carry these things to the kitchen.
He followed her into the kitchen, carrying a tray. The brilliant Dr. Simpson had been puzzled. Are you all right? He had asked her. Dr. Simpson, who recognized only the physical laws of matter, had asked, are you all right? But she wasn't all right. Dr. Simpson didn't know then what the trouble was. But late that night, When he returned from his lecture, he found out about the experiment that was underway with the loaded gun in the night table.
I'll be back shortly with Act Two.
Hello, Ms. Goldilocks here, and welcome to my professional taste testing laboratory. Oh, Papa Bear, could you bring that case of sugar-free Diet 7-Up over here?
Another case? Miss Goldilocks, you're drinking the sugar-free Diet 7-Up like there's no tomorrow. You can't still be taste testing it.
Oh, no, Papa Bear. Sugar-free Diet 7-Up has already earned my seal of approval. It's fresh, light, natural, delicious. I drink it because I love its taste. Now hurry up.
Okay, here.
This sugar-free Diet 7-Up really tastes delicious. Ladies, if you're tired of switching from one diet drink to another, take some advice from Ms. Goldilocks. Try sugar-free Diet 7-Up and you'll say, yes, this one's just right.
I'll bear witness to that, Goldie.
Hey, Mom, what's for dinner? Hey, Mom, what you got?
What's for dinner? Your ShopRite is featuring ShopRite or Shenandoah brand Grade A Rock Cornish hens. A real family treat at just 47 cents a pound. What's for breakfast? Listen to these ShopRite values. ShopRite Grade A large eggs, 59 cents a dozen. ShopRite sliced bacon, 1 pound package, 79 cents. ShopRite Grade AA butter, 1 pound brick, 69 cents. Crown Top white bread, 22-ounce loaves, 3 for $1. Save on every meal at ShopRite.
She loves the family. She wants the best. She does all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? ShopRite has the answer.
WOR New York, your Mystery Theater station.
Helen didn't wait up for Dr. Simpson to return. I waited in the study, dark, but for the small lamp on my desk. And still, except for the soft breathing of Chi-Chi asleep in the shadowy corner of the sofa. I waited and read until I could be sure that Helen was sound asleep. I unlocked my desk and took out the one notebook I kept hidden from her and made an entry. The experiment is beginning to show results. Today, Helen reacted with an unmistakable manifestation of dizziness and mental depressiveness when Dr. Simpson mentioned the word table. I am convinced that the subject has reached the stage of complete susceptibility and receptiveness. Then I continued the experiment. I stared in the direction of the bedroom door and concentrated. I shut out every sight and sound and thought until I was oblivious to everything but the task at hand. Helen, there is a gun in the night table. In the night table, Helen. In the night table, a gun, Helen. In the night table, a gun, Helen.
Professor Baker.
Yes?
What are you doing?
Experimenting.
Where's Helen?
Lying down in the bedroom. Close the door, won't you?
Professor, what is this experiment?
It's a very simple experiment. I'm trying to reach her mind. Now, if you'll excuse me. Helen, there is a gun in the night table.
Stop it. Stop.
Why, you're shaking, Dr. Simpson.
What are you up to?
I'm simply trying to tell Helen there is a gun in the night table by her bed. And for her to...
To what?
To pick it up, enter this room, point the gun at me, and pull the trigger.
But why? Why?
What I'm trying to determine is whether one mind can influence another by exerting mental energy to do something the subject would normally recoil from doing.
Yes, go on.
in Helen's case, I'm sure that in her conscious hours, she would never even entertain the thought of shooting me. I'm trying to determine whether she can be made to do just that without her being aware that she is being impelled to do so.
Oh, but why? What would it prove?
Prove? Don't you see? If one mind can control another across space, think of the power men of goodwill can exercise over evil. It will at long last give man control over the rapacious breed that makes civilization a nightmare. The evil, power-hungry men who brainwash their countrymen into one war after another.
Professor, how long has this been going on?
For weeks. Every night. You recall Helen's depressiveness this evening? When you mentioned the word table?
You mean...
Yes. The reaction. Results. My mind is beginning to control her subconscious. You witnessed it, Philip. And now, have you the scientific integrity and the courage to witness the experiment carried through? I have conditioned her to come in when the clock strikes midnight. In a few minutes now.
What do you mean, do I have the courage?
Yes. To stand by and not interfere when or if she's about to pull the trigger to kill me.
You mean the gun is loaded?
Of course it is.
But why not blank bullets?
The experiment must be carried out with all factors of reality to eliminate all possibility of interference from her extrasensory perception.
I don't understand.
Don't you see? Her extrasensory perception could signal her subconscious mind that the gun is harmless and the experiment would prove nothing.
Professor Baker, I simply cannot understand how a man like you, who's devoted 40 years to the science of physics, can suddenly, on retirement from scholastic life, devote all his time to such elusive matters as parapsychology, mental telepathy, clairvoyance, fantastic nonsense.
You sound very dogmatic for a man of science, Dr. Simpson.
With all due respect to your sincerity and your experiments, Professor Baker, the vast array of scientific knowledge still supports the theory that human behavior can be traced directly to the physical and chemical factors of the human body.
And you think Chi-Chi will convince me of that?
Precisely.
You allow for no distinction between man and the monkey?
None. Both are animals.
Listen to me, Philip. You've been trying to dissuade me. Oh, I'm quite aware of that. Now let me try to convince you.
All right, I'm listening.
From the time the British Society for Psychical Research was founded in 1882... right through the present worldwide experimentation to pierce the veil of the unknown, the one thing that has been missing is the willingness of scientists of unquestioned integrity to conduct their own experiments. The time has come, Philip, for researchers like you and me to settle once and for all what is or is not possible, is or is not true in paranormality.
If I consent to witness your experiment, will you promise me that if it fails, tonight, now, you will never again experiment with Helen's mind?
Yes. But, Philip, I can see you're still afraid that the experiment will succeed and that she could shoot me. I'll put you at ease. This gong that stopped her from pouring the coffee on the table. Here, you hold it. And if you think the situation warrants, strike the gong.
Very well. Proceed.
He stood by the door to the study, one hand holding the brass gong by its silk braid, his eyes watching the clock on the mantel as it started to strike midnight. Chi-Chi, awakened by the clock and our raised voices, was nervously pacing back and forth across the top of the back of the sofa. Philip watched the door. I sensed he was prepared if Helen failed to respond to the gong. He would strike the gun out of her hand. I resumed the experiment. Pick up the gun. Come into the study, Helen. The study, Helen. Helen walked in, her eyes fixed and staring, her arms at her side, her right hand slightly behind her. Philip, mouth open, unable to utter a word, watching her. Point the gun at me. Pull the trigger. Helen! Dr. Simpson dropped the gun. Rushed to me as I slumped over the desk.
Good God.
The bullet hit in my chest.
Helen! Towels, adhesive tape. It's a chest wound. Have to keep him from sucking in air.
He looked up from examining the wound. One glance told him she didn't hear or understand. He ran to the bathroom, got towels and the tape.
Helen, call an ambulance.
He moved me to the couch, pillows under my head, ripped open my shirt, pressed the towel on the wound, taped my chest to keep the pressure on the wound.
Call the ambulance, Helen.
She didn't respond. He seized the phone.
Put down the phone, Philip.
Helen, why are you pointing the gun at me? Put down the gun.
She lowered the gun to her side. He went to her. My eyes closed. I struggled against the blackness flooding my mind. I struggled as the blood trickled from my wound to listen.
Helen, don't you hear me? Answer me. Answer me!
Why did you slap me, Philip?
Helen, do you know what you've done?
What have I done?
You've shot him.
Who?
Your husband, Professor Baker. We've got to call an ambulance, Helen. His pulse is...
Will he live?
The ambulance, Helen.
He won't live, will he? I can see it in your face, Philip. He won't live.
He'll die if he doesn't get to the operating room.
I want him to die.
What did you say?
I want him to die.
Well, I must say, I'm surprised, too. But then, Helen's probably like most women. Not always mean what they say or say what they mean, huh? Wonder what's really on her mind. But she's in good hands, with a doctor in the house. I'll be back shortly with Act 3.
When you say Budweiser,
When you say Bud, you've said a lot of things nobody else can say. When you say Bud, you've gone as far as you can go to get the very best. When you say Bud, you've said the word that means you like to do it all. When you say Bud, it means you want the beer that's got a taste that's number one. When you say Bud, you tell the world you know what makes it all the way. When you say Bud, you say you care enough to only want the king of beers. There is no other one. There's only something less. Because the king of beers is leading all the rest. When you say Budweiser, you've said it all.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis. People who fly a lot get to know the difference between one airline and another. And it's these frequent flyers who tell us they're more comfortable flying on TWA. What is comfort on an airplane? It's coach on our wide-body 1011, where all seats are 2 across. It's 1011 first class, where seats swivel around so you can talk or have dinner with friends. TWA Comfort is a roomy 747 with contoured seats you can sit in for 5 hours without getting fidgety. And Comfort is the TWA twin seat in 707 coach, which lets you fold down the middle section if nobody's there and sit 2 across instead of 3. On long TWA flights, you'll also have a choice of meals and movies on movie flights. But above all, you'll be comfortable. That's what TWA Ambassador Service is all about. Only TWA flies the wide-body 1011 to Los Angeles and the big comfortable 747 to San Francisco. Call your travel agent or TWA for reservations.
Well, it does seem we left both Helen and Dr. Simpson in a state of shock. Not to mention our bleeding Professor Baker and that hysterical Chi-Chi. Let's rejoin them and see whether there's help for any of them.
I don't want him to die.
Listen to me, Helen. You must let me call the ambulance. Don't you see? We must. If he dies here, the police will want to know why we didn't call the ambulance.
The police?
Yes, Helen, the police will want to know.
Oh, Philip. Hold me. I'm so mixed up.
Come. Sit down. Lean back. Just try to relax. Put the gun on the floor. I'll call the hospital.
St. Francis Hospital.
This is Dr. Philip Simpson.
Yes, doctor.
I need the ambulance trauma team at once. 47 Edgecliff Road. Critical chest wound. Gunshot.
Yes, doctor. I'll put it right through.
Now, I want you to call the police, Helen.
The police?
Yes, they'll be here soon anyway. They're always alerted about requests for an ambulance. But I want you to call them for the record. It will be important at the trial. I'll get them on the phone. You talk.
Police emergency, Sergeant Peters.
Oh, this is Mrs. William Baker, 47 Edgecliff Road. I want to report that I just shot my husband. What will I tell them when they get here, Philip?
You don't have to answer any questions tonight. I'll have the law firm of Kendall Prentice represent you. They're specialists in forensic medicine.
The Chinese gong in the dining room.
It's Chi-Chi, imitating what I did. Chi-Chi, stop that. You hear me? Stop that. Let me have it, Chi-Chi. Now come here. Drop it. Drop it. Let go of it, or I'll break your paw. Those Capuchin monkeys. They want to imitate every new thing they see. Chi-Chi, go sit down in that corner. Go on, and stay there. They're intelligent, but they can be very trying. Chi-Chi is acting strangely tonight. Usually obeys a command immediately.
Well, perhaps Chi-Chi's nervous system has been affected by what's happened here. Perhaps its brain has intercepted some of William's energy messages.
Nonsense, Helen. That's impossible. I mean, Chi-Chi can sense excitement and tension in a room, but as for intercepting Professor Baker's energy messages, I'd better check his pulse. It's weak. Very weak. What's keeping that anger?
Philip! Chi-Chi's got the gun!
Chi-Chi! Let me have that gun. Now, Chi-Chi, you'll be a nice boy. Put the gun on the floor. Good boy. Thank you, Chi-Chi. Thank you. Now go back in the corner, and please stay there. I'll put the gun in the desk. I think we both need a brandy. Would you like one, Helen?
Oh, yes, please.
Here, dear. Just sip it. Tell me, Helen. Did you know what you were doing when you pulled the trigger?
Well, what do you think, Philip?
I don't know what to think yet. You've got to tell me, Helen. Did you know what you were doing? You pulled the trigger after I struck the gong.
Yes, I know.
You knew? You deliberately murdered him.
Murder? I shot him because he told me to. He made me do it.
But if you knew what you were doing, the police will call it murder.
Look, I told you I knew what I was doing, but I won't tell the police.
What will you tell them?
That the experiment, the great Professor Baker's experiment, was a success.
Wait a minute, you knew about the experiment? You knew?
Yes, every step of it. I knew about the notebook. I read every entry, every day. I knew exactly what he was up to. The police will read the notebook, and they'll understand. They'll understand.
You murdered him. Helen.
I never loved him. I was beginning to hate him.
It doesn't matter now, Helen. I prefer to conclude that you did not know what you were doing, that the experiment did unbalance your mind. I think the district attorney will accept that.
Accept what, Philip?
that when you pulled that trigger, it was insanity.
Oh, no. No, I won't be declared insane. No. Look, I'll show them the notebook. They'll understand. They'll read it in his own handwriting. How night after night while I was asleep, he tried to make me shoot him. They'll understand. Unless you tell them differently. Unless you tell them I murdered him.
Helen, please listen to me. Try to understand what I'm telling you. The police will never believe that Professor Baker's experiment was a success. They'll call in scientists to testify that no such thing is possible. They'll suspect that you used your knowledge of the experiment to kill your husband.
Yes, but you were a witness. You can verify what happened.
Yes, but...
You tell them that I murdered him?
No, Helen. The only honest opinion I can give them is that your mind snapped. That day by day, the knowledge of your husband's secret experiment preyed on your mind. And you became convinced, in a moment of temporary insanity, that he really wanted you to kill him.
Will they believe that?
I hope the jury will.
Oh, help me, Philip. You must help me. I'm so tired. I'm so mixed up.
As I lay there on the couch, still, my eyes closed, aware that under the blanket, my blood was still slowly trickling into the towel, fighting against slipping off into unconsciousness. I could still hear their voices as from a great distance.
You must help me. I'm so tired. I'm so mixed
My
up.
poor darling.
And then I was aware of Chi-Chi at the side of the couch, bending over me, its breath close to my face. My eyelids, heavy with weariness, lifted slightly, and through the thin slit of vision, I saw Chi-Chi's plastic skull. I could see plainly through the plastic skull, the gray mass of nerve tissue of the cerebellum. And then, summoning every last bit of strength of will, I concentrated on Chi-Chi's brain. Chi-Chi, the gun, in the desk, Chi-Chi.
What have I done, Philip? You too. It will ruin your career.
Go to the desk, Chi-Chi, in the drawer, the gun. I could see its gray eyes staring at me, trying to grasp what I was telling him. And then he jumped on the desk, pulled open the drawer, and took out the gun.
Chi-Chi! Put it down, Chi-Chi!
Philip charged to the desk. Chi-Chi eluded him, leaped to the mantel over the fireplace.
Drop the gun, Chi-Chi. Drop it!
Philip chased it all over the room, knocked over a table lamp. It jumped to the hanging ceiling light fixture, waving the gun playfully. Chi-Chi, point the gun at the mirror. At the mirror, Chi-Chi.
Drop it! Drop it!
Give me the gun, Chi-Chi.
At the mirror, pull the trigger.
Give me the gun, Chi-Chi.
Helen was reaching towards Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi was pointing the gun at her. I didn't want Helen to die. I summoned every last ounce of will and sent a mental message to Chi-Chi. Drop the gun, Chi-Chi. Drop the gun.
Look out, Helen! Good Lord. Helen, answer me.
She didn't have a chance. She was shot in the head.
Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling.
You must not die, Helen. You must not die. Helen, I love you.
Oh, my darling.
Chi-Chi was at the door at the garden in a panic, trying to open the door, the gun still in his hand. Philip grabbed the fireplace poker, swung it on Chi-Chi's plastic skull. It glanced off and fell out of his hand. Philip picked up a chair, threw it at Chi-Chi with all the strength of his fury. It crashed through the glass. Chi-Chi jumped through the opening. Philip picked up the poker, went after Chi-Chi. I could hear Philip chasing him across the flagstones of the patio. I heard the police car. I could hear Philip shouting.
Chi-Chi!
Then all was still, deathly still. I lost consciousness until I became aware of someone talking on the telephone.
Yes, Lieutenant. 2 dead. Mrs. Baker in the house, and Dr. Philip Simpson in the woods back of the house. Yeah, 1 bullet in each of them. John says Dr. Simpson was pretty far gone when he found him. Says he tried to tell him something. John thinks it was something about a monkey still running around out there with a loaded gun. It beats me too, Lieutenant. No, nothing else. Oh, yes, we found a black skull cap hanging on the chandelier. That's what I said, skull cap. Odd-shaped thing. Can't figure out what it's for, no. Right. Oh, better get that ambulance out here fast. Professor may still have a chance. Here it comes now, Lieutenant.
That's how it happened. Exactly how it happened. The police are still puzzled. Chi-Chi you will probably find roaming the woods, the gun somewhere nearby. Chi-Chi did it. Tell the police Chi-Chi did it. Why? Perhaps it was mimicking Helen after it witnessed her shooting me. I shall never know. As for whether my wife murdered me willfully or suffered temporary insanity or was influenced by my mental energy, you must judge for yourself after you read the full record of the experiment in the notebook. Yes. Go tell the police and Professor Seligson. You can locate him through the American Society of University Professors. Tell them I decided to communicate the foregoing just an hour ago when I heard the operating team give me up.
And they say dead men tell no tales. Talking about the brain, though, let me give you men a tip. If your wife is trying to talk you to death, don't worry. Master the secret of mind over chatter. But seriously, a guy I know didn't even answer his wife. She threatened to divorce him because he was unsociable. So he hit her over the head with a Magee. Told the jury he wanted to be clubby. I'll be back shortly.
Amco Transmissions, may we help you?
I hope so. My frisky Ford is making funny noises.
Oh, like what?
Like this.
Hey, that's great.
You mean everything's okay?
No, I was admiring your car sounds. As for your Ford, ma'am, well, I'd have to look at it to tell you exactly what's wrong. But I can say of the 3 million automatic transmissions Amco serviced, over 900,000 of them were Fords.
You can cure my buzzes?
Oh, you bet. We've gotten stranger sounds than that out of
Ford, Torino, and the Maverick, and the Mustang, and the Pinto, and the LTD.
Rest assured, we'll get rid of your buzzes.
Oh, terrific. I'll zoom. Excuse me. Right down.
Nobody knows your automatic transmission better than Amco. AA MCO.
There are over 500 AMCO centers coast to coast. Consult your yellow pages for the AMCO center near you. AA MCO AMCO.
Our cast included Roger DeKoven, Bryna Rayburn, and Nat Poland. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The WOR Mystery Theater was brought to you by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you get a lot more for a little less, and by Suburban Savings with offices throughout North Jersey. The preceding Mystery Theater program was furnished by the CBS Radio Network.
from the Mutual Broadcasting System studios in Washington, D.C. Now, my commentary. The staff of the Senate Watergate Committee says that the weight of the evidence before it tends to establish that former Attorney General John Mitchell did approve the plans that led to the original Watergate break-in. Convicted Watergate conspirator G. Gordon Liddy is alleged to have used large sums of money provided by the Committee for Re-election of the President to finance that break-in and the wiretapping at the Democratic National Committee headquarters in the Watergate Hotel and office complex here in Washington. A draft report of the Watergate staff's conclusions also said that available facts can only support the conclusion that payments made to the Watergate defendants by White House aides were intended only to keep them silent as to the involvement of other persons in the Watergate break-in or other activities embarrassing to the White House. All those conclusions were made available by a source close to the committee who emphasized that they are based on a rough draft prepared mainly by Watergate Committee Counsel Samuel Dash and do not represent any final conclusions that the 7 senators on the panel may eventually draw. The draft report states, the committee finds that the weight of the evidence tends to establish that former Attorney General John Mitchell did approve the Liddy intelligence plan with a $250,000 budget in Key Biscayne on March 30th of 1972. The draft report also states that the staff has found no evidence to support President Nixon's claims, as reported in his statement of May 22, 1973, that he personally withdrew his approval of a widespread and covert intelligence gathering plan authored by White House aide Tom Charles Houston. But the staff report said that the Houston plan, which called for the creation of an interagency domestic intelligence unit authorized to commit break-ins and even open private mail and plant listening devices, was never, according to the committee records, never implemented. The staff report also said no legal justification on national security grounds could be found for the burglary of the office of the psychiatrist of Pentagon Papers burglar, Dr. Daniel Ellsberg. The draft reports of the staff finds it difficult to accept the claim of former White House domestic advisor John Ehrlichman that the Ellsberg break-in was not carried out without his express knowledge and authorization. The 170-page draft report will be discussed by the 7 Watergate senators in an executive session on Thursday morning. The public issuance of that report today by the staff member, though, I think confirms the worst suspicions about the Senate Watergate Committee. It is outrageous, to say the least, that a group of staff members of any Senate committee could issue such damaging statements about anyone, in effect indictments. That, of course, is the job of the judicial branch of government, where a person who is accused can confront and cross-examine his accusers. White House lawyer James St. Clair formally informed U.S. District Court Judge John Sirica today that President Nixon will turn over no more Watergate tapes, and Special Prosecutor Leon Jaworski said that he would continue the court fight to get those tapes. Judge Sirica himself issued a statement after a meeting in his chambers saying that he would meet with the lawyers in the case on Friday to map out the impending court battle. St. Clair announced at the White House yesterday that attempts at working out a compromise over Jaworski's subpoena for tapes and documents covering some 64 White House conversations had been terminated, and that the president would fight the case all the way to the Supreme Court if need be. The chief counsel for the House impeachment inquiry said today that the White House has definitely not given the House Judiciary Committee the full Watergate story, and that he will recommend issuing additional subpoenas to obtain further evidence. Counsel John Doerr made the statement when he was asked at a news conference about that statement of yesterday by St. Clair that, quote, as far as Watergate is concerned, the president has concluded that that full story is now out. St. Clair had also announced the president's decision to give no more Watergate tapes or documents to the Judiciary Committee. Committee Chairman Peter Rodino said that the panel will take the president's refusal to supply additional material under consideration. Possibly next week will address itself to the issuance of a subpoena. Michigan Republican Representative Edward Hutchinson, the senior Republican on the committee, said that he remains opposed to any further subpoena. Hutchinson declared, "I just don't think a subpoena is enforceable." He voted against issuing a subpoena last month. The subpoena, however, was approved by a vote of 34-3 by the panel. Hutchinson today added, "Whatever we get, I think we're going to have to get through negotiation and through discussion, not through subpoena." In another Watergate-related development, the White House did acknowledge today that there might be periods of silence in some of the Watergate tapes that were transcribed and edited for the Judiciary Committee, but it said all the words which could be heard are reflected in the transcripts. In the meantime, a Jesuit priest who serves on the White House staff said today that suggestions that President Nixon's Watergate tapes disclose a degree of immorality are, in his words, erroneous, unjust, and contain elements of hypocrisy. Dr. John McLaughlin made his comments at a news conference that was arranged by the White House in an apparent attempt to counter rising criticism resulting from the recently released transcripts of those White House conversations. Yesterday, as you recall, Senate Republican leader Hugh Scott of Pennsylvania said that those transcripts reveal, in Scott's words, a deplorable, shabby, disgusting, and immoral performance by each of those who participated in the discussions. A cross-section of religious leaders and ethics specialists said that the edited conversations reflect a contempt for fairness and truth. McLaughlin said that his comments were not aimed directly at Senator Scott, whom he described as a venerable and revered figure in American politics, but he said to criticize the president on moral grounds is unjust and politically erroneous because, he contended, the president's role in seeking world peace shows that he is a man of great moral leadership. Father McLaughlin said today the president is not a god living on Mount Olympus. He is a human being with human imperfections like you and like me. The profanity that was deleted from the transcripts of the president's conversations, he said, should be viewed as a form of emotional drainage, a form of therapy, a form of release. McLaughlin joined the White House staff as a speechwriter back in 1971, and now as a special deputy assistant who describes himself as an advisor, a fact finder, and a presidential spokesman. A question about the president's consideration of the payment of hush money to Watergate defendants, McLaughlin today said the transcripts show that the president never authorized any such payments, but he said the president's discussion of the matter with since-fired White House counsel John Dean was part of a chief executive's right to reasonably entertain all options in considering problems. Father McLaughlin said that he agreed that the presidency has been enfeebled by the continuing controversy over Watergate, but he added, quote, I cannot contemplate any set of circumstances where President Nixon would resign. He said he opposed the original release of the Watergate tapes to the grand juries because he knew it would lead to continuing demands for access to private presidential files. Father McLaughlin today said it's like losing your virginity. The next time is a little easier. William E. Simon was sworn in today as the nation's new Secretary of the Treasury. He promptly called for a new political will in the fight against the nation's soaring inflation rate. The former New York bonds trader said inflation will be his number one problem and project, and he urged the cooperation of the administration and the Congress in helping to solve inflation. President Nixon joked that Simon evidently was practicing productivity in his own personal life, a reference to the fact that 6 of the 7 Simon children sat in the front row and during the swearing-in ceremony. Simon has said he believes the answer to the nation's inflation problem is increased productivity, combined with restrained government spending and other moderate monetary and fiscal policies. The White House, whose casual press release type announcement of Simon's nomination 3 weeks ago raised some eyebrows, pulled out all the stops for today's ceremony in the White House East Room, which included music by the Marine Band. Up on Capitol Hill, meanwhile, 7 full months after the energy crush started, the Senate finally started opening debate on legislation to reduce the fuel shortage without addressing the problems of rising petroleum prices. The bill under consideration is a modified version of one vetoed on March 6th by the president, who objected to a provision in it rolling back crude oil prices. The Senate then refused to override the presidential veto. The current bill is chiefly sponsored by Senator Henry Jackson, the Washington Democrat, chairman of the Senate Interior Committee. It would give the new Federal Energy Administration power to implement conservation programs subject to a veto by either house of the Congress. The FEA also would have authority to set up a standby program for rationing gasoline and other petroleum products subject to the same veto provision. The FEA was created under a bill that was signed just yesterday by the President to replace the old Federal Energy Office, which, as you recall, was headed by William Simon, sworn in today as Secretary of the Treasury.
Thank you.